Hello and welcome to Dash 28 Live. I'm your host, Mike Atkins, and today we are bringing you a final round match from Call to Arms 5. On Table 2, we have James Hopkinson versus Stephen Pearson. Hey guys, welcome.
Howdy.
Thanks so much for being here. Also joining me to commentate on the match, we've got Tom Robinson and Luis Serra and Britton Williams. Hey guys, welcome. You guys are going to be playing Pillage at 2,300 points, as everyone else has for this round. And this is, once again, I'll point out, the final round of the tournament, and you guys are currently playing on Table 2. So this is a very, very important matchup, and we're all very excited to see how this turns out. So without further ado, let's move on and check out the lists you guys are going to be playing. All right, so this is James's Undead list. James, could you walk us through your list, please?
I don't really know what to say about it, to be honest. It's just the same list I always play, but that's my 2,300 point list. I like having the Wraiths in there just to chap stuff up. Soul Reavers because they're broken. Death Pack because I dropped Lady Alona, so I could fit in another unit. The Whites, I mean, they all do exactly what they are supposed to do when they get into combat. As long as I don't go up against a really heavy shooting list, I should be all right. So, but that's it really. There's no real tactics to it. I built the list because I'm not very good, so I just push stuff forward and hope for the best. And there's lots of dice, and it's all on threes. It's as simple as that. It really is a crutch, if you will.
All right, that's gonna be 12 drops, coming in for a total of 20 unit strength. All right, let's pop over now and take a look at Stephen's Salamander list. Stephen, can you walk us through your list, please?
Again, similar to James, it's fairly similar to the list I normally use. Changed a few things around. The Ancients, because they're great and they're Inspire, and I take a regiment. Salamander Ceremonial Guard. I've given them Brewer Strength this time, so I knew I would probably be facing lots of Defense 5 vampires. Fire Elementals, just as they are. Scorchwings have got the Staying Stone, which is what I usually put on them. The Rhinosaurs I've given Blessing of the Gods this time, try and give them a chance of hitting hard on the unit if they get a chance on there. Ember Sprites, Fire Elemental, I like him. Stick the Lechelidon in there this time, potential chaff. Sometimes it gets a good shot off. The Phoenix, which, you know, does what a Flaming Bird does. At the moment it's burning a hole in the ice. Mage Priest with the Shroud of the Saint and Heal, which is what I always put him with. So it's Heal 6, Surge 8, and with that lovely equivalent of Elite when he's got the 6-inch from any Flamebound unit, and I've got quite a few Flamebound units, so he's meshing nicely with them. The Gekatoa Skylord, I've given him the Blade of the Beast Slayer, so he's got some crushing against the bigger things, and then Firebrand. So that's where we're at.
All right. And that's going to be 13 drops, coming in at 23 units strength. All right. Thanks, guys, for walking us through that. Now let's pop over and take a look at your Universal Battle Room. So this is the same map that everyone else has been playing for turn 6. Lots of small little clumps of forest, one really big but short hill all the way over on the side, and some really tall stone formations kind of blocking off that right side of the table. Looks like you guys are using those red dots as your objective markers.
Yep. We've got the tombstone thingies, or what they're called, underneath them as well, in case we get carried away and drag them off.
In case you move. Okay, cool. That makes sense. And Luis, did you have a question about who dropped which tokens where?
Yes. I was wondering who put the 4 tokens on the left and who put the 3 on the right.
I put all 3 down the right, and Steve put the 4 in the diamond shape on the left.
Yeah. So we're playing different halves of the table.
Okay. Interesting. Cool. All right. Can you guys walk us through your unit deployments, please? Starting with the Undead up here on the top, over on the left with your Wraiths.
Okay, yeah. So we've got just a unit of basic Wraiths hidden behind the hill. And then we've got the Soul Reaver Infantry with hands for Life Leech 3 hidden behind the hill. Vampire Lord on a horse hidden behind the hill. And then the Soul Weaver infantry with healing. That's the healing brew, the 5-point item. They're just there. Couldn't get them completely hidden. Then we've got the Vampire Lord on peg. I've tried to deploy a little bit further back because he has much more shooting than me. I have none, obviously. Then we've got the White Horde with haste. Necromancer with the Shroud just behind the Soul Weaver infantry with blessing. And then I did try and trick him into playing on the other side of the table, but he didn't want to go for it. So I've got 4 units at the other side, 2 wraiths. Behind them I've got a death pack, and at the front there I've obviously got a unit of whites with Strider.
All right, great, thank you. And then down here at the bottom we have the Salamanders.
Yep, so first unit on the left there is my Rhinos with the blessing. Behind them are the Ember Sprites, who have got Scout. Then the Horde of Ceremonial Guard with Crushing Strength 2 because of the brew. Then behind them there's the Ancients. Greater Fire Elemental sitting on the ice, just north of the river, the pond thing. Behind him there's the Mage. Then the Horde of Fire Elementals and the Phoenix sitting in a cloud of smoke behind them. Just sitting on that deer there's Firebrand. And then the Coursiers to the right of Firebrand, Lakelidon, and then over on the other side, got the Gekatur Lord with the Beast Slayer thingy, and the Horde of Scorchwings.
It's worth mentioning the obstacles that are like ruins. We've agreed to play that if you're touching anything like a pebble, then it's cover, but if not, then just to make it simple.
Got it. Okay, you're counting the whole thing. Cool. All right, thank you guys for walking us through all that. I appreciate it. Good luck to both of you. Have fun, and we will see you back here when you're done.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Drop out this. Thank you.
Yep. All right. We'll bring up their 80-minute clock that they're playing on. So we do have 1 scout move, I believe, on the Salamander side that they'll be taking, and then they'll be rolling for first turn.
Yeah, it's just the Ember Sprites, I think, isn't it?
Yep. I'll take this opportunity to inform everyone that the top table match that was scheduled for tomorrow has been postponed due to a medical issue. The players have spoken to the TOs, and the TOs have agreed to give them an extension since it is the last round in the top table, and it's and as I said, a medical issue. So that will not be happening tomorrow, but we do intend to stream it when it does happen, and we will let you all know when we know when it is going to be. So if you were planning on watching that, sorry, go back and watch one of the previous round matches instead, or maybe play a game on UB with a friend. But unfortunately, we will not have that for you tomorrow.
I'd recommend the Adam Paddy Ezekiel one because that's a great game.
That was also that was a really good game. You got to watch all the way to the end.
Oh yeah.
I suggest just starting up like 8 or 9 of the streams in the background to make us feel better about our numbers. Just spend that 2 hours randomly clicking through Dash 28's back catalog while watching one game.
We definitely appreciate it. So the top-down look at the whole tournament at this point looks a little something like this. These guys are playing on table 2. They were both 1 point ahead of Mr. Tom Robinson coming into this round, and Tom pulled a 23-point win this round. So they need 22 points in this game to tie Tom, or 23 points to pull ahead of him. And then it'll come down to what happens on the top table. If the top table draws, then the winner of this game, if they pull ahead of Tom, will likely win the tournament. Otherwise, I believe Stephen Devonish is 5 points ahead of them, and Alex Coos is 8 points ahead of them. So if Stephen wins and it's only a small win and one of these guys gets all 25 points, they could still come from behind and win the tournament. Or if it's a 20-point win on Stephen and a 25-point win on this table, then it would be a tie for the top spot, and it would come down to kill points. So it is still kind of up in the air.
Yeah, it's fairly close.
All right, there's the Ember Sprite scout move, and here comes the roll for first turn.
I think you're looking to take first turn here, don't you think?
I don't know which one is which yet.
Steve's Craigsider.
Okay, there we go. See,
I just looked
They
at the
did.
Ember Sprites. You move the Ember Sprites, that tells you.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
There you go.
That's the more logical way. I just like when they put some part of their name into the name, and then
That might be a good thing to consider, putting in the ticker at the bottom, their UB name in addition to their normal name, if they're hard to tell. Make it a little easy to follow.
Okay, so he won the roll. Is there a reason to not go first on this one?
Nah, he's got the shooting, hasn't he? So he might as well get forward, push the undead back, and start getting the scorch wings on stuff on the right or the left even. I've probably got right because the necromancer's just going to heal, so you might as well start picking on whites or red.
I think he just
He
let
didn't-
Jay go.
Yep, he didn't get the first turn.
He let Jay go first.
Oh, okay.
Maybe he's hoping to let the undead walk into his shooting range for the first turn.
Nah, I don't. I mean, he doesn't have that far of shooting. They'd have to really push it forward.
Yeah, sometimes with these it's good to go second because you get to dictate what happens at the end of the game.
Yeah.
If you've got a spare unit that can nimble and fly about, and you've got two objectives, you've got a bit of play with what it can do. Where your opponent in their turn 6 would then have to plan for your turn 6, I guess.
Yeah, and the Salamanders do have 3 nimble flying units.
Yeah.
So
Is that entire river difficult terrain?
No,
it is not. Just
open
just the
terrain.
pond.
Just forget about it.
Yeah, just
Just-
the pond at the bottom.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
It's frozen, so you can just walk straight over it. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm actually a huge fan of that in on tabletop games, of like putting down cool terrain that doesn't do anything and just looks good, like rivers or streams that you can say like that counts as open terrain, but it just makes our battlefield look rad. Because normally like rivers ruin games, so you
Yeah.
never use them. So it's a good way to get certain stuff out onto the board. That
Historically accurate, but not exactly fun to play on now.
no.
All right, so James is doing over there on the right exactly what we expected him to do. He's just going to conga line those wraiths forward to sit on those 2 objectives, and basically turn the whites towards the middle of the table to guard them, or possibly catch anything trying to sneak around the central hill.
Yeah, there is a real danger with those Soul Reavers, or possibly even the Whites, that a concentrated 2 or 3 units shooting them and then a surge with the Fire Elementals could pick them up in one go if they're exposed to it. So he does have to be a little careful with those hammers on that side.
Yes, the Soul Reavers don't have any screening units except for 1 troop of wraiths, and they have no wave of mitigation or anything like that. And the Salamander guy has quite a lot of units that shoot. They don't shoot like a lot, but there's a lot of shooting units.
If you can bring 3 or 4 of them to bear on the Soul Reaver, you might spike a waiver.
And that was it for James's first turn. He moved stuff over on the right, and I think he decided he didn't want to move anything on the left.
He loves this deployment that much. It's like why touch perfection?
I really didn't want to go first.
Yeah, why'd you make me go first, bro?
The mind games.
It can happen a lot with 2 reactive players where they're like, no, wait, I want to react to what you're doing. Do something.
Maybe his plan is to get those 3 on the right, which he's gonna get, and then wait the Soul Reavers behind the hill and behind the forest so they cannot be shot. And when he's closer, just pop them out. But don't know.
I think an important part as well is what happens with the Scorch Wings on the right, because they can move onto that hill, be completely safe, and then start taking pot shots at the White Horde. And that White Horde can't quite get into the wood to get cover from it. So they'll have 2 turns of...
Yes. Or shoot the Necromancer with no cover.
Yeah.
I'd be hesitant to start shooting over there really until they can bring everything to bear because he's spent enough points on heal to give heal 6 there. So you know,
Yeah.
you don't want to waste any time. You might as well go off the unit which can't mitigate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you have a tiny amount of shooting on that wing, you want it to stick.
Yeah.
You don't want to give him an easy, like, well, my Necromancer wasn't doing anything, might as well heal. Like, let him keep not doing anything. So
I do kind of like the idea of bringing the Lycaelidon around, and the Lycaelidon can just bother the race for the entire game. And it'll kill one of them eventually, then it just jumps on the free objective.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's nothing over there to heal them or inspire them, and their defense is great, but their nerve is really low. So if you stick 3 or 4 wounds on them, yeah, you could conceivably pick them up after a couple of turns, and then he's got nothing to hold his objectives over there, and he's got to go fight for the ones in the middle.
yeah, there is a chance for the sneaky, I'm not going to fight you on that wing. Just kidding. Yes, I am. And you can redeploy a lot easier with your shooting. You can bring shooting to bear to that side faster than he can bring additional units to help. But doesn't look at the moment like that's what he's planning. Because if you give up as the Salamander player, if you give up those 3 on the right to win, you need all 4 in the middle, and that means you're fighting for that top of diamond one against 4 hammers, which is
Not necessarily, because you could because the Scorch Wings fly, you could always have it hidden there, and on the last turn, fly over, and they have more units than a troop of Wraiths.
That's true. Yeah. You just snipe it out from under him.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point. I like the idea of just holding that unit, shooting them, making them react, knowing that since you gave up first turn, final turn, if he doesn't have one of those doubled up, you can just land on it and take it from him.
Yeah, but he almost has to not double them up. If he's not going to move forward on the left to challenge any more than the top of the diamond, then he's got to hold all 3 on the right.
Yep.
Wow.
But he has 4 units over there. I mean, you'd rather be doing something else with those whites, but he does have 4 units for 3 objectives.
Yeah, if you can keep those whites over there on that hill, but not doing anything other than hanging around in case the wraiths get shot to death, then that's kind of a win, right?
Yeah.
They're not sliding across the table to cut you off. I have to admit, looking at just the lists in a vacuum, I thought the Salamander player was going to have a really rough time. But now looking at how they've deployed and kind of moved things for the first turn, like I don't hate the Salamander player's chances here. I don't hate Steven's chances.
I feel like the Salamander player was just, I'll take one of everything, please. Straight down the list.
Right?
He hasn't duplicated a single unit. It's one of each unit. No seconds the same thing, is there? But I quite like that. The Salamander list has got heal 11, which 6 are elite, and he's got radiance. So he's got a decent amount of damage mitigation on him. And stuff like Ceremonial Guard, they're hard as nails. Ancient's hard as nails. Those 2 are the kind of things which will tank Soul Reaver Regiment and then kill them on the counter. Both Ancient units, the Horde and the Regiment, they're also both fearless as well, which is, Soul Reavers hate even more. Especially none of the Soul Reavers have any wave mitigation. The aim of the healing back them up, and they've got an alright chance really of taking that and then picking them up on the counter.
I think wave of mitigation is the to-go item with the Soul Reavers. Chalice of Wrath, Staying Stone. I don't understand the healing brew.
Not when you got heal 6 and life leech 2 already.
Right.
rather
Yes.
saying.
Right, and it's not a unit that you want to hang back and sit on an objective. It's a unit you want to go fight, so you should be getting your life leech back.
Yes, and any turn you're counter-attacking, you're deleting one unit.
Yeah.
Here we go, shooting.
Surge. By the way, the Salamander guy brings more surge than the Undead guy.
Yeah, but this is, I mean, a bunch of points just in vampires. So Surge is great
Yeah.
on the whites and the wraiths, but this is a vampire list.
Yes.
All right. Slides his greater fire elemental forward, was at 3 inches with surge. And now looks like he's going to start shooting at the wraiths.
Didn't he have a lead because of the flame bound?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Or does not affect the surge spell?
No,
It
it does
should.
affect him. Oh, well, that's a good roll since he gave cover away for no reason, but never mind, you need 6s. Oh, excellent roll. Good.
Yeah.
Well, it looks better than it is actually.
But then he needs 6s to wound, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gets that again, it'd be in good shape.
He
2.
gets 2.
There we go.
That's about right between the two of them shooting, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. They won't kill one a round, but they might kill one every other round.
You only need to spike once, don't you? Nope, not this time though.
Not this time.
Yeah, but if he puts 2 more on him next round, and you're looking at, it's starting to get sketchy. Like, and they have no way to get it back unless they fight,
Right?
which he shouldn't let
Yes.
them
And
Exactly.
he
So
can
you
spend this...
Necromancer turn 2 sprinting full length across the board.
And he can spend 5 turns shooting the wraiths, and if he pops one, there's one objective less than is contested, or he has to commit the whites on the right side.
Yep. All right,
So-
so on to Jay's turn 2.
Yeah. So what does Jay do to stop that train that from happening? Like, we're seeing it unfold. It's like they're going to get shot off the board. He's going to
Yeah.
be short with objectives on that side. What's
The guys
he
can
doing?
jump over each other to spread the damage out as the whites help push them back. You are delaying the inevitable a little bit because you've got no way supporting those units on that side. I mean, the peg vampire could come flying over to help. It's not a bad position to be in because it's looking around to stop the flying vampire either. So he's not going to do that.
Squaring up, making a
Yeah.
battle line.
And I think that's kind of what Steven wants him to do anyway, right? Like, come away from the objectives. Come wander out into the middle of the table.
Yeah, you can just back up a little bit and keep shooting, and it's not really a
Exactly.
problem.
Yeah. And at some point, he can just jump over whatever's still alive because they've inched towards him and there's nothing there to surge them.
Yeah, well, the Gekutar Skylord can do that now, and I think so can the Scorching Lord. But you don't need to, do you? Like, they're not just going to. I mean, you could do that, then go kill the Death Pack, but then you're going to be in the corner.
Yeah. But, if you shoot that Death Pack to death on turn 6, you've taken a point away from him.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is where shambling is a disadvantage, when you don't have any surge on one half the table. And you got somebody shooting you annoyingly from a little further away than you can reach.
It doesn't really matter for the White Horde and Mill of shambling because they're not going to be marching anywhere. You want the stuff on the right side there to have been marching first turn. That might be the only turn it actually does any marching. You won't need to after that, but you've lost 7 inches of movement because you're shambling and you haven't got anything.
Yeah.
And this is one where those little point shavings, if that was a mounted caster, it could do something about this
Yeah.
pretty quickly. It could at least get over there and start to help. Going on foot, you know. I don't love where the caster is right now. I think it's sitting in a spot trying to think about when it will use heal in the future. But it could be really changing this entire flank if it was helping out over there.
I'd like to second. I like the death pack that comes on is you drop the healing items from the necro, and that's bought you another necro for 10 points discount. At that point, you can find 10 points of an inspiring talisman, so that gives you right side some surge and some inspiring,
Mm-hmm.
and an extra buff. Nice. I think he's content to just keep backing up. I think he's thinking, I'll just take the 3 on the right, and he's going to take the one nearest to him. He's got enough that he can bum rush it, and nothing Salamander do they can do to take him off at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like on table 2 last game, you want to be pushing for maximum points because obviously, I think first you're going to have to get at least 23 points.
So there's a psychological factor here, and I don't want to go too far into it because I don't know these guys super well. But they were both sort of joking in the intro that they have nosebleeds from being up this high, or they just push it forward, or that sort of thing. And
Yeah.
Sort of mentioning like, oh, I'd be happy with a top 20 finish. So while you're sort of thinking like what you need to do is push for maximum points because you have a shot at winning this, there could be that feeling of like protecting what they have and playing kind of a little nervous and a little defensive, and that's what it feels like some here.
But it's the point of the Northern Kings scoring system is it's go kill things, go get objectives, go do the thing. It's not your blackjack. We're going to dance around each other, and it's going to be a 14-7, and nothing happened. I don't like blackjack. I am bad.
They've sent us a rules question in our Facebook chat, and they want to know: do height 2 obstacles block line of sight?
No, obstacles don't block line of sight.
Yeah, I didn't think they did.
They're essentially height 0 for the purpose of line of sight, but they're cool.
And there we go. Yeah, we're at least I'm sort of aware that the Northern King system of scoring exists because you guys don't like blackjack and said we're going to make our own. Darn it!
I think it was one. I think it was one of the Masters tournaments. I think it was. And we all played in it. I think apart from Nick who turned his place down. He'd rather run it than. But we were all there going, man, blackjack's cool in terms of like you score for scenario and you score for the game. But, it's like you have a big win and you feel like I've got a really big win. And you look at the score, you're like, mine a win. I'm sorry, I killed twice as much as he killed a mine, and I took how many objectives he took now, and I've got bugger all to do for it. Right. We just put that down and we turned it up and right, go kill things, go get objectives. I'm not biased.
I'm not biased. My system is the best.
Yeah.
It's the.
Yeah. Now, obviously, like all systems have got the roles, haven't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think everything out there is useful. I'm not a fan of straight win-loss draw, but that's just personal preference. Like there is strengths and weaknesses to all systems, and they encourage or discourage certain types of lists and play.
Yeah.
But as a community, we sort of know that the types of lists and the types of games that straight win-loss draw encourages, for the most part, are not the games we want to play, and favor a lot. I mean, they favor a lot of things that I think are negative in the community. So,
yeah, like giving up in turn 5 because you can't win. It's like, well, at least with Blackjack and Northern Kings, you can get points by going killing another unit and go and take an objective. But it's still something to play for, and win offshore is, well, I can't win it, so...
Right. So the game is
And
over.
then lists that get micro thin wins consistently do as well as lists that absolutely like are skillfully wielded and then crush an opponent. And
Warhammer style when you're playing ETC team events and I bring Wood Elves because I'm not going to lose more than 300 points and I'm going to kill maybe 800 to 1,000. But it's fun in the team environment because you're all there and drinking. But I think if that's the thing you're playing all the time, it's the reason why people hated those kinds of armies. It's a pain in the ass to play again.
Yeah, and like you said, there's a certain aspect to it within a team environment where spoiler lists are fun, because you are doing a matched part where like you are matching it against other lists, and you brought this skew list, and you need to match it against something else, and there's like a game within a game, and you have the defensive sit in a corner and castle list its job is only not to lose, and you're trying your best against their toughest list that's meant to smash you. And it's a whole metagame to it. But that's a particular type of player, a particular type of event, and not what you want to see every weekend.
No. It does incentivize bringing some really off-the-wall lists and that kind of thing. I wish we could do some more, like, big team, not ETC, because I hate the ETC, it's crap. But like, some actual team, like, 4-player team tournaments with the matchup system, because they were my favourite moments of tournaments back in the old world. And I wish you could bring that here, but the environment needs to get bigger overall, doesn't it, for that? Especially over in the UK. You could probably manage it in America.
We do. There's a really good one that usually happens late summer, early fall up in upstate New York called Crossroads, which is a 4-player team tournament. And I don't know, it's 60, 80 people now. I forget how many people are actually there, 10, 12 teams. Plus, like it's been growing pretty rapidly every year that I'm gone, and it's one of the most fun tournaments every year. Because if you lose one game, well, it doesn't matter because the team won the other 3. Great, we're still in it. My job was to lose this round anyway.
And that's always the best when you're like, oh man, we're about to lose. And you look across and all your mates are winning. You're like, yes, go on, lads. You don't mind,
right?
Yes.
And it gives you so much extra incentive to like, okay, well, I can't let the team down. If it was just me, I'd be like, well, screw it. This game is lost, but it's like, nope, I got to fight for every point for the team, man. I got to stay in this. So,
and it does.
Yeah, no, it's a great time.
It lets you bring sort of interest. Like this list's job is to not lose, and we're going to put it against the hardest, dirtiest, filthiest thing on the other team, and my job is to just survive while someone else goes and gets the wins.
Yeah, you bring a role list, sort of like the way they used to talk about the perfectly balanced D&D party was like a tank, a striker, a controller, and a support guy. You basically bring one list that does each of those, and then try to get and then try to win with favorable matchups.
Yeah, and bringing madness like we had a back in Warhammer days. He had 3 bloodthirsters and a greater demon of change or whatever. It was like no one used bloodthirsters because they were crap. But in a team tournament, 4 giant flying demons works quite well if you give them a good matchup.
Right, you just avoid the guy with cannons, and they will rip the shit out of the guy. Right.
Yeah.
So, anyways, what's going on here?
What
do we got?
I think it's more tentative advancing.
So wait, it's the Salamander's turn again? The Undead actually moved?
I missed it.
Yes.
Yeah, they could ask the question about moving behind the obstacle. That's why we went on a tangent, because we had time.
The Soul Rivers that were behind the hill, they are now touching the hill.
Okay.
The Vampire as well. The Wraiths back up. Don't ask me why. Maybe the Soul Rivers are chaffing the Wraiths. And
I'm sorry, that's awesome.
and I think the Soul Rivers that were on the right just turn to the left and advance, maybe tempting the Salamander guy. Would I go for a long shot with the Fire Elementals onto the flank? But I don't know. Nothing
They'd
much
be
else
hindered.
happens.
It's over an
Yeah,
obstacle.
no, just joking.
Yeah, it needs 7 successes to get that, at least.
Yeah, 7, 8.
No, the
Fate
fire,
dice.
the fire elementals are shambling, Strider, so they wouldn't care.
Are they
they?
Pathfinder?
Oh, you're right. They're only Pathfinder. You're right.
Yeah, it's the weird.
Strider.
Yeah, fire travels worse than water through obstacles. Which, like, I actually love those little differences. I actually love the fact that, like, water elementals have Strider because water flows everywhere. That's just a fun little, like, rules adding to the flavor. So,
All right, so he's turned his Dakota Skylord to head towards the middle of the table. If Jay had turned his Vamp Lord,
Flanks,
yeah,
maybe?
yeah. If Jay had turned his Vamp Lord and sent it over to bail out the Whites and the Wraiths, it wouldn't be so easy for him to do that because he'd be staring right at a Vamp right now.
He's not doing much varied control, is he? He's a vampire pick at the moment.
No.
yeah, there's this big gap that, we'll see how much advantage the Salamander player can take advantage of there. But, like, there's this big gap between his lines that there is a Lakeelodon can kind of, like, wander over there, but there's a Phoenix, the Skylord that can just kind of float into that if they want and take advantage, potentially. So I like initially, we'll see how it shakes out, but I like the Skylord sort of pushing into that gap in the middle where he can keep a couple units on the left flank honest by being there, especially those Whites.
I feel like I would have liked it if he'd flown them and still turned them back towards the Whites and Wraiths so we can shoot at them another turn. Because shooting at any units over there with his number of shots, unless he's focusing fire with everything else, isn't really going to matter. It's just going to give the Necromancer something to heal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's setting up for those potential charges out of nowhere. Come in and hit a rear or a flank. Or even just chop something up on that side if he decides to push forward.
Yeah, maybe just try to take attention of some of the other units, like the Vampire on Pegasus, something like that.
Yep. All right, so here comes shooting. That's going to be Firebrand shooting at the Soul Reavers.
Pow, pow, pow. I mean, this is where the shooting is going to be a little bit, I think, disappointing, which is fine. This is just sort of free shots as you maneuver. I think the goal here is there's going to be one round where he pours everything into one target and tries to either pop it with a surge charge or pop it on shooting on its own. This is all just kind of chippy.
Yeah. Not getting any. Yeah, it's too bad Firebrand doesn't give the Corsairs Elite for ranged. They would have gotten to reroll for their shots.
Yeah.
Was it like Kilodon?
That's the fat army I never built. Under old Clash of Kings when they give Firebrand the like formation with the Corsairs.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, I want to make that army, and I had it all planned out, and then I'm like, by the time I build and paint this army won't exist anymore, and it didn't. So that was
it was ridiculous. It was +1 for the formation, wasn't it? Then it was fearless for Firebrand anyway. So like these little chaffy 911s became like the -12, -13 monsters.
It was great. And it's not like it overpowered Salamanders because they were a terrible army then.
It was like Salamanders and Trident Realms. They had one actual competitive army, and it was the formation. Then anything that's left that's good in the Salamander and Trident Realm list, and that's it.
But yeah, that was my like sliding doors, Final Destination moment where I saw the future. I saw me with all these half-painted units and the army going away, and I just chose not to do it and saved myself.
At this point, you'd have had a Salamander list, and the Salamander list has come up massively to be a pretty good list overall.
Yeah.
All right, worked out.
So that looks like 6 hits
Yeah.
Oof.
on the Wraiths.
Saying there's a chance.
Suspense is building. It's taking a while to type a 6 into the dice counter.
He should do one. Maybe they're double checking to make sure they don't have cover somehow, or they got
No,
steady aim, so it shouldn't matter.
Leader point is the moving into wood, isn't it? Because leader point's out, so it's fine.
Yeah. That is that danger with backing up, is that you back up into the woods and you start giving them cover. But it looks like he was smart and kept that leader point out.
Yeah. He's got plenty of. He's backed up out of charge range. 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14. Yeah.
Is there another rules question in the Facebook chat we're missing? I was just checking. Maybe.
Nope.
No?
World's longest drum roll for 6 attacks.
It's going to be 4 hits. Take them off. 4 damage. Take them off.
That would be big.
Gekata Sky Raider lights out shooting this whole game.
Clock is paused. Well, they might have just gone for a wonder.
Could be.
Yeah, rules check apparently.
Okay, and they're asking about cover like we thought.
Yeah, we've just had this conversation.
Yep.
You get it?
You can get it. Yeah, as Rita points out. So they're asking us about whether this Scorchwing unit has the shooting penalty for moving through terrain, since it backs up, since it started in the terrain last time, but then backed up, but its leader point is still out of the terrain. Whether it gets that penalty.
That's one of those subtle V3 rules I like, but it is hard to explain to someone when they see it for the first time.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to explain, like, okay, you count the terrain you're in as cover. And everyone's still stuck in the Warhammer mind of like, well, if I'm shooting out of terrain, it's different. I'm like, that concept doesn't exist anymore. Like, just... So...
Looks like you got one. Not piercing, are they? Scorchwings, no?
No.
No, too bad. All right.
He's a 9. Oh, there you
That
go.
will pick them up.
There it is. Lights out shooting. Scorchwings nerf. Incoming.
And another 9, or a 9 rather, rolled against the Soul Reavers, but that's only going to get them on 11.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Hitting the box counts for a waiver.
Yeah. If he keeps rolling nerves like that, though, those little
Yeah.
two or three shooting wounds are going to matter soon.
Kings of War is a easy game if you roll 9 and above on nerve every time.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is sort of a thing, and you see it with like high regiment lists or even sometimes trash lists. Just making someone roll a bunch of dice or rolling a bunch of dice gives you a chance for small variants that can be big. So, because like if he didn't pop those race this turn, he would just shoot him again next turn and try and get him with a similar roll.
Yes, and Wraiths have really big defense, but they have not a big nerf, and they are inspired, so you can always get a lucky roll. And they got no rerolls.
That is, I mean, yeah, that's a lot of points in that battle group to not be inspired.
It really is.
He didn't buy insurance, and he got caught with the.
I can't count the number of times when I've had a bit of shooting lying around. I went, I might as well take a punt at the race. And off they go. Right. I've done one damage rolled 11. How well?
Yeah, it can happen.
Yeah, I have the exact opposite experience where I grind against them for like 5 turns, rolling 3 on nerve every time, just watching them not die.
Yeah. And like Morgoth's behind them, like drain lifing you and fixing them every turn and laughing. 3rd edition. Before they nerfed Morgoth. So much fun.
Okay, so Undead player, what should he be doing here?
Oh, man.
I think it's turn 3, and I don't feel like he's really had a turn 1 yet. It's just he's done bits and bobs, but he hasn't done anything really to take control of the board space, has he? Like, he hasn't used the vampires' complete speed to go out there and put a bit out. He hasn't. the Whites are speed 8, but they're not projecting any more threat than the Soul Reavers in front of them are. I mean, he's done a little bit of simple stuff. He's covering the wood. So anything that moves in the wood is in range. He's using the hill to cover himself from shooting, but also being able to cover anything moving up to the hill. So he's doing a bit of it. It's just I'd rather he were doing it further up. I think the wider open space in the middle of the board got to him a little bit, and I think he's too worried about shooting. So he's held back.
Yep.
Until they're fighting over where the cover is. But none of his stuff has Pathfinder, so that matters when you're fighting Dash 17 and Dash 18 because they're only going to do 8 damage, and you haven't got any Bane trying to do a knife around. You have to bump it up.
Yeah, his super
rates-
hammers become normal hammers when they're hindered.
Yeah.
So, and when you look at average 8 damage. That's not enough to break these units one-on-one.
Yes.
And can even get a little sketchy too on the big unit with the rallying or inspiring and such. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, and the Salamander player has like a line of 4 cheap units that are making a screen with the Ember's Price, the Fire Elemental, and the Undead player has not such a screens. He has like the Wraiths, the Vampire on Pegasus, and the Vampire, but they are expensive units, at least the Vampires. He's not in an easy spot because also the Soul Reaver Infantry is not outspeeding the Salamander, so...
Yeah, I mean that greater fire elemental, 175 points, dash 18, defense 5. That's a block in that size base that just gets in the way and isn't too much. It's not in the like 240, 230 range. It's 175 isn't that bad to lose if you have to.
It's all right in combat, but the other thing is it's surgeable. You've got your Surge Caster, and usually you're needing a 2 or 3 Surge because it's in the battle line. It's also got a better type before he gets surged in, so it's got a great utility.
Yeah, I like him, and it's a great Mantic model. It's one of their best, I think.
I think those Wraiths on the far left really need to go forward and engage the Ember Sprites.
Yeah, otherwise the Sprites just going to walk up right in front, and then it's an absolute
I think the player needs to commit because the situation is not getting any better for him. The Salamander guy is going to keep push forward and keep shooting him, and
Yeah.
I think, okay, maybe this goes wrong, but let's do it. Let's put everything in range and see what happens. Try to block what I can block with the vampires and see what happens next.
So my thought was, and this is I'm again getting inside people's heads and trying to think like them, which is always dangerous. But my thought was sort of, he thought he had the 3 down the side locked. Like that he was going to take those and it was fine. And that he was fighting over the 4th, the top of the diamond. And if he holds everything back and he makes it basically a 2-turn game, like 3-turn game, 4, 5, and 6 maybe. He holds everything back and then he just throws all of his hammers at the top of the diamond, shreds what he's against, and takes one of them. He wins 4-3 from like a meta plan. The problem is right now he's not looking like he's going to hold all 3 on the right, and that fight over the top of the diamond might not be enough. Even if he can win that and not get chipped away and chaffed up and stomped. So, but that's my guess at what the meta plan was there. The overall plan is you're guaranteed 3 and then fight for 1, and the top of the diamond is the most likely to fight over. It's sketchy.
Yeah, I think last turn I would have done what Tom suggested and send the Vamp on Peg further to the right, basically planning on engaging the Dakota Sky Captain, killing him. And I would have definitely, instead of backing those Wraiths up, I would have sent them forward. And then this turn I would have sent the Wraiths and maybe the Mounted Vampire into the Ember Sprites to make sure they died and make sure the Wraiths were up in the faces of those Rhinosaurs. And then you can move the Soul Reavers up onto the hill to be ready to charge down and kill whatever they need to.
He's got Whites with haste. He's got a Peg and he's got a mounted vampire. And right now, they basically hadn't moved since their deployment. So they're projecting some range, but they're not really using much of that mobility to change the battlefield or control space. They're just sort of sitting there projecting, and that made them super predictable. So we'll see what happens now. But I would have loved to have seen any of them repositioned to sort of change angles and make them think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because if the
That's the-
vampire had gone over there and engaged the Gekota somewhere around where they currently are, killed him on this turn, he'd be turning to look down the flank of his entire army on the left with really nothing ready to stop him.
Yeah. I liked the idea of using that little bit of hill. The undamaged Wraith jump in front of the damaged ones, so you get covered if they do go for you. But then also the Whites push up, the vampire comes across, and you create a crossfire where then the Gekatari they have to turn around and buffer off, in which case they're not shooting in the face in the wrong way. Or the Gekata have to commit. And that might save you the unit race as well, because I don't think I don't think you bother with the covered shot. I think you'd take the uncovered shot because you're already low on damage. And you're looking for fight anyway.
Right.
A covered shot against race, you're now down to expected damage really low.
0.75. Yeah.
Yeah. One half of a wound. Yeah.
You're shooting. Yep, seal.
Gets the 2 he needs. Still no combat, so that's going to be it. And for this kind of undead list, if you've gotten them to turn 3 and they haven't gotten into combat yet, like you're doing a pretty good job, I think, as the opponent.
I mean, to some degree, I think this list can hit hard. It doesn't mean it needs to hit hard the entire game. Like, it can delete half an army in 2 turns.
Yeah.
And that's enough if it's applied at the right moment to the right spot. Like, I have no problem with him not having fought yet. I have a problem with him not basically having threatened or moved.
Yeah, quite often stuff like if you got a Night Horde doesn't need to be in combat every turn of the game, but what it can do is walk up and be absolutely terrifying for 4 turns, and it picks up a 200-point unit, and it's a job because 900 to 1,000 points to your opponent's not coming any further forward because, oh my god, it's a Night Horde, it's the most powerful thing on the board. That's doing its job. It might not make all its points back in kills, but you need to if your opponent's giving away half the board space. I feel like that's kind of what the dead list does. It pushes forward and goes, all right, we can, everything that we have, which is hammer, can kill anything that it touches.
Well, he talked about in the opening, like, it's a straightforward list and I push it forward. I'm just not seeing the push it forward.
No.
He did say, didn't it? It's a straightforward list and I push it forward, and so far it's reversing.
But anyways, the Soul Reavers, they are like a super hammer, but they're slow, so they're not probably gonna get the charge. And they also, you have to think about how to deal with the other chaff or the other less important units, because if you charge the less important units, you kill them, but then the big hitters hit you and destroy you. Then, so he doesn't have chaff to support the Soul Reavers or to screen them. And he hasn't got a plan to kill the Stephen's chaff or Stephen not so important units.
I mean, he does have chaff. It's just not doing it right now. He's got 3 Wraith troops and a death pack. And then he has the vampires, which can operate in that sort of heavy chaff roll where they go in and they punch something and they stick. Just none of them are doing that role right now. They're all off faffing about getting shot.
So looking at the table, it's a bottom of turn 3, and I'm wondering to myself, what does Steven, the Salamander player, even really need to do for the rest of this game? He's sitting on 3 objectives. he can basically at any point over on the right fly over and claim or take a 4th point from Jay. And Jay hasn't pushed up to threaten him, and he's got shooting that he's now just going to pick like which unit he's going to concentrate the shooting on, and maybe just push a couple things forward a little bit, so that he can concentrate fire on another unit a little bit more. Otherwise, like he doesn't really need to move or go anywhere or accomplish anything else for the rest of this game. He's like exactly where he needs to be, and until James moves up to challenge him, he can just stay in place and shoot and wait to count the points. Right?
The ceremonial guard are really well placed because they're covering 2 objectives, so those ancients can move up right behind them, jump over them, and then they can go contest the middle objective, bringing their -18 defense 6 to bear against Soul Reavers.
Hindered Soul Reavers,
It means everything else can missile off because nothing's getting to that ceremonial guard unit who are sat on 2 objectives.
Yeah.
And ceremonial guard are hard as nails.
Yeah, heavy infantry hordes whenever possible, and this is something where like hopefully it was in his mind from the setup. Hopefully he deployed them where they are so that they could cover 2 objectives by moving forward and pivoting. But
they struggle not to really on that side of the board.
orc hordes, salamander hordes, any of those 25 mil infantry size bases, the heavy infantry, normal infantry units can do it sort of corner to corner, but heavy infantry can just so easily like straddle 2 objectives and bring that big unit strength to bear, and are so hard to crack. So
Probably is why he did this diamond formation with 4 tokens. So there are multiple objectives that he can contest with the ceremonial guard.
Yeah, I like it.
I wonder if the Rhinosaur Horde can do it. Can it? No, it's not quite big enough for that thing.
The rhinosaurs are only 150
50,
wide.
so I think, but you can do a bit of like diamond.
Yeah, but they're only 150 by 100, or 150 by 100. They're not actually that big when you get into, there's chariot legions have a better chance at like the diagonal potentially with some really weird deployment. But it's those 250 mil wide hordes that get to have all the fun. Night hordes as well.
Now this I'm not so sure about. Steven's kind of moving things up a little more aggressively, but I don't know that he needs to yet. Those are still 3 turns. He's kind of just giving Jay stuff to charge at.
It's just the chaff.
Yeah, but the Ember Sprites where they were, like the Wraiths couldn't get to them. The Vampire, I think, maybe could get to them, but now where he's moved them up, he can easily double charge the Ember Sprites with the Wraiths and the Vampires.
Yeah, I prefer the idea of them sitting just behind the hill, out of line of sight of the Wraiths, so the Wraiths can't charge them and do their job, which means the Wraiths either stand in front of them and then save your Ember Sprites, or it means the Vampire has to commit, in which case the Rhinosaur Horde goes in and picks him up.
Yeah.
Rhinosaur Horde's killer.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know what he was really scared of on that side. He's pushing the pace a little, but I'm not sure he needed to.
I really don't think he does. And like that greater fire elemental doesn't want to peek through that forest at all.
No, I think he's doing it for the shooting, isn't he? But
yeah, but it's like what, Fireball 8 or something?
It's going to be 8.
But the leader point is not in the forest.
Yeah, so he can't. Unless he's mistaken about where the forest ends and the creek begins, maybe.
Maybe it's just trying to bait Soul Reavers there.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, the Reavers and the Whites are both in. The Whites are also in range of the Gekatar Skylord because they've got 16.
Yep.
Which would suck because that means the race are free to do whatever they want. The following turn.
So he moved the Gekatar Skylord into range of the Whites?
He hasn't moved it yet this turn.
I don't think he's moved it yet, actually, no.
Yeah, he needs to get it out of line of sight of both of them.
That's easy enough, though, isn't it?
12. Which is just, yeah, because you don't want that, because then those whites can come over, kill him, and then be looking at the flank of your Scorch Wings.
But I mean, the elemental is like dash 18. I
Yeah.
mean, even if the blessing of the gods charge him, they will be hindered, and they will be doing like
Yeah, 9, 10.
10 something damage. So the elemental has a great chance of surviving. And if he wants to overkill it, he will have to commit a second unit, and then he will have 2 units to swarm with his units and
Yeah,
try to kill.
the vampire can join in. You can very easily make it a flank as well. Well, I say easily, just about. But again, like, if he does that, then if the Salamander list jumps in, he picks up 2 your hammers.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll see what we got.
they're definitely bait. They're not great charges for the undead to take. I don't know if I had an undead player with that much stuff who kept backing up with stuff, and I had that much shooting, I might just stay put and shoot at him.
Yeah, why not?
For another turn or two, and make him panic and come forward instead of making him get started on peace trading.
Yeah, the question is always why now? Like,
Yeah.
This move is available to you now, but why take it? Why? I sort of understand putting one bait out. The multiple bait is a little like, because you can just yeah. I don't love both doing this. We'll see. Okay, Skylord is committing.
Probably going to pivot right to help with the race, and then the following turn, he can go help get the death pack, and there's nothing they can do on the right flank at that point.
He can shoot the death pack now.
Yeah, I think you've got time, haven't you? Like, it's bottom of 3, you might as well help out and get the race as well.
Yeah.
And they won't be covered there, at least.
The death pack are stealthy. That's going to make them a little harder to shoot to death.
But he's just going to punch him.
Even if they're stealthy,
Yeah.
even if they're stealthy, they're defense 2.
True.
Yeah, it's stealthy and cover at the moment, rather than just go for the race and pull your shooting together from the Scorch Wings.
Yeah. No, I mean, next turn, 100%. Just charge the death pack, and you'll probably kill them. But, like, I wouldn't worry too much about shooting them this turn. No. I wouldn't expect it to do much.
Well played, Satch, because they don't actually have any crushing or thunders above the Skylord, so that's just 4-man 3 attacks. Have fun.
Yeah.
I like some shooting though, just little bits of like lightning 3 or a lightning 5 from somewhere. Find something. So important, especially late game when everything's as slow as this undead list really is. I just at the end of the turn, end of the game, turn around and go, oop, and just take something which is 5 or 6 to kill and just pick it up.
So he's shooting at the whites over on the right instead of the remaining unit of wraiths. Only does 1 wound. Would have done 1 wound to the wraiths. I think I would have rather shot at the wraiths.
Yeah, I would have.
Because 1 wound on whites doesn't matter. 1 wound on wraiths is a super lucky roll away from picking them up.
Is he getting greedy? Is he going to shoot everything at the whites and hope 2 turns of shooting them?
No, because the Skylord shot at the beast pack.
Well then.
Yeah.
Did 2 wounds though. That's not bad.
What?
On a 10-12 unit.
Right, I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Now it looks like the Lachilodon is going to shoot at the Vamp on Peg.
I think it's the only thing without cover, right?
Could be. Yeah, because it's high 4.
Everything's shooting there.
Yeah, they're all defense 5, so kind of might as well.
And I guess the Vamp on Peg is 1 lower nerve than the Regiment of Soul Reavers.
Yes.
And one of his 2 inspiring sources.
Jesus.
And also, if he's waver, he cannot turn and go help the right flank.
Yeah, it's true.
Because he knows that the necromancer is going to get 3 wounds average back, and then he has life leech too. So even if he gets 5 wounds, he's gonna be completely new when he charges.
Yep.
But a waiver, it's
All right. We may be seeing a gentleman's agreement there that
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's in.
Your leader point's not actually in the woods. Oh, that's the only reason I moved him here. Cool, pivot him.
All right, well, fix it and go on.
And that's
Interesting.
actually something I would say about the Kings of War community in general, like in physical tournaments and online for the most part, is that as long as you're sort of playing and being clear about what your intent is and what you're trying to do, I've seen table one give backs on things, or like, okay, just nudge that forward, or oh, you forgot this rule, re-roll that kind of thing.
Right.
yes.
Tournaments are not something to be scared of. They're just that many games in a weekend, and winning and losing in that, you'll find your level very quickly, and the games will be fun, and the games will be competitive and tight, but they'll be fun because we're a really good community around that. So
Yeah.
I encourage everyone, when we can again, go to events. Don't be scared.
It's just an opportunity to have games from people you normally don't play against. Because when I went to first tournament, I never play, I don't know, Abyssal Dwarfs or armies that are not in your little community. And it's fun. And for example, in my region, we don't even give like first prize or something. All prizes are random. So there's not like I want to win because I won the prize stuff.
Yeah, I don't know anyone in Kings of War that's like competing for actual prizes. Like they might be competing to win the tournament and get like the trophy that says they won the tournament, but no one's like, oh, I need that store credit. I'm gonna cheat you out of this to get that store credit. It's not that way at all.
Yeah,
So.
Nah.
it's definitely not about the money. There are some tournaments that have particularly impressive trophies, and so people are competitive about the trophies. Like TNT is an excellent example because it's pro wrestling themed, and Tim actually gets someone to make actual like solid metal and leather wrestling championship belts. Or there's Tom waving around his master's sword. Sure, yeah.
Ooh.
If somebody gives you, anytime you're giving away something made of actual metal, people are gonna covet that.
Yeah, and that's why when we have in-person events again, my first prize is going to be a Centurion's Gladius.
That's cool.
Cool.
I go the other way with it. I give a full-size metal shield that I paint with the tournament logo and name.
Something in the primitive male brain goes, ooh, shiny sword. And
Yeah, basically. Like if everybody else is going to give away swords, then I need to give away a shield, so you got something to put in your other hand.
Yeah, and then the like championship belt for the wrestling.
That was it. That was the lucky waiver on the peg.
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
That was
it's
a
notable.
10.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
See, the thing that's sort of driving me nuts about
And
this.
they're dead. Or not?
Oh,
No.
What happened?
No, it's only a 7.
Okay. Yeah. The same was the vampire.
So the thing that's sort of driving me nuts about this is I feel like James has been playing scared of the shooting this whole game.
It's not scary. If it all comes together on one unit, yeah, but that's 4 or 5 units that are salamanders that are doing that to maybe wave one proper.
And I feel like he's playing into that. He's like setting up situations where the shooting is actually having more of an effect than it should. Like he's putting himself in situations where he's letting, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like he's scared of the shooting. He's treating it with too much respect. And now it's having the effect on him that he didn't want it to have. So it's like he's letting that amount of shooting dictate his entire battle plan instead of saying, I have super hammers, I'm going to dictate the pace. So we'll see. But
Yeah. And he did have a pretty good round of shooting on 2 different units last turn, which means now the Necromancer has to decide which one to heal instead of being able to focus healing on just one thing.
yep.
Well, the vampire and peg is currently safe. You don't want it to take another 4 damage, do you? The vampire that's mounted can bugger off and start life leeching back.
Yeah, he needs to go punch those Ember Sprites with the Wraiths, I think.
Yeah, I think at this point it has reached the I'm going to have to do something because I can't sit here and continue to get shot at.
Yeah.
I have to do something about it. It's just if I was in his shoes, I'd like to have a bit more of a say about when that happens.
I'd like it to be further back down the table by like 6 inches.
Yeah. 12, 18 inches. I like
Something
a
like
bit 18 inches further down the board.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe 2-3 turns of movement.
and for it to still be turn 3 when I'm going in. Yeah. It's all right. You do make a good point, Britton, though, about being really intentional about how you play and narrating your own game and declaring your intentions as you move everything, because you will find that most people, or at least my experience, is like when I move a unit and say, okay, I'm moving them here specifically to do that. Yeah, right, cool. You and your opponent like agree on things, especially with in terms of things like charge ranges, like what's in and what's out. Like I'll move stuff up and measure everything and basically look at my opponent and say, these are the charges I think I've left you. Is that all of them that are actually on the table right now? Yeah, or like something like that. Most people say like, yep, that's we now have the exact same understanding of this game, and I know what my options are next turn.
Like,
cool.
And that's how the game should be played when you have pre-measuring. Like,
yeah.
the advantage of pre-measuring is that you can avoid a bunch of those arguments. The disadvantage is it removes some sort of randomness and fog of war and that sort of thing that exists from the and it removes a old wargamer skill element of like, I've been wargaming for 20 years. I know exactly what 7 inches is on a board without measuring.
Yeah. It was my favorite game was guessing cannonball shots and being perfect at 45 inches across the board.
Yeah.
I hated the set up battle bots were the worst thing that ever happened to me because it meant everybody else could do the same thing. Go, that's 25 inches across the board, is it?
Yeah.
Square.
And that's one of those. It's like a comedic thing. I think I've talked about this before, but I'll be furniture shopping with my wife, or we'll be at a store and she'll be like, oh, I wonder how deep this cabinet is. And I'll look and I'll be like 18, 19 inches and it'll be within an inch. Like any range up to about 3 feet, I can estimate very, very close from just years of guess range weapons and charge ranges. So
I would aim 6 inches off the front of that cabinet and
yeah. Okay, so as the undead player, what are we doing here? Smarter players than me, Lewis.
I mean,
Tom, Mike.
I would definitely throw that vampire on horse with the wraiths into those Ember Sprites just to make sure that they die and to get some life leech back for the vamp. That's the safest charge for him to make. I liked what he did a second ago where he backed the vamp on peg up to get behind the whites. I think he should have done that.
I mean, I don't know. The only Soul Reavers that have something in rage apart from the Ember Sprites are the ones on the right that have the Greater Elemental and the Lycanidon. And your Vampire is wavered, so maybe just, I don't know, it's yeah, maybe what Mike said, just try to make sure you get rid of those Embers right now and put your Soul Reavers in range of charging things, because 2 out of 3 are out of range. And if not, maybe if you want to be bold, charge the Greater Elemental with Soul Reavers and the whites to the Lycanidon and try to block something with your Vampire and hope everything doesn't kill you next turn.
I think at the start of this round, would be as an undead player when I commit. My issue is though that 5 damage on the mounted Lord sucks. I would have been, if it had been 2 or 3 damage, I'd have considered putting him into the Rhinosaur cap because Rhinosaur kind of only got cushion 1. We've got leap, but it's only cushion 1, so you should be able to take that fairly easily. And enables you to start moving the Soul Reavers so the race will go in. But even then, the race aren't certain to kill the Ember Sprites. They've only got 10 attacks on 4s with Crush 1, and crushing doesn't really matter. So, Ember Sprites, what, dash 11, dash 12? Dash 11, I think?
Something like that.
You better hope you kill them, because otherwise they're not going anywhere. They're not Inspire, which kind of sucks.
Yes.
And again, Wave on Vampire on Peg really sucks as well, because I was thinking, like, there's so many little plans you could be doing there. Like, the Whites can go into the Lekelidon. Your Vampire on the Peg, who's going to take a 2 or 3 damage. He then goes into the Fire Elementals. Because things won't be able to see him, because the Firebrand pushes him across a little bit, so that Ceremonial Guard therefore can't see him. And they're able to send in other stuff on the Fire Elemental. You can make a fight of it then. But both of those, like, because these let the shooting do what it does, but that option's kind of out the window, because you're at that point now where the Vampire Lord mounted can't go in anymore because it's on 3 damage after it life features.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Wavered one's not going anywhere anyway, so you're spending a turn healing him as well.
Yeah. I guess you could, if you were going to commit the Vampire on horse to chaffing up the Rhinosaur, then you would double charge the Ember Sprites with the Wraiths and the Soul Reavers, and then just back the Soul Reavers up to get them out of the Ceremonial Guards
Yeah.
charge range.
Relying on dice rolls, isn't it, which...
Yeah.
You need to put in a troll or 2, and then you need to do a race side step of a bit.
Yeah.
Even then, you're going to be in range. I think you're trying to push the Ceremonial Guard to be wavered if they do go into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully.
I feel like you need to either put something else into those Ember Sprites instead of just the Wraiths, right? Like, or just Soul Reavers and send the Wraiths to do something else. But the Wraiths were so far back, they couldn't really get into anything else.
Yeah. And I mean I liked that sort of plan of hitting the Salamander right flank, because the Ceremonial Guard is not good at turning. Like, those types of units are great at standing somewhere and fighting things that show up in front of it. But as soon as it tries to sort of pivot and come around and help, it's got a woods in the way, which will hurt charges, and it's got some Soul Reaver infantry at the top of the board that would be keeping it honest. So you do have an opportunity to use speed and seal off that side and fight. The Peg being wavered just hurts that so much.
I think over there on the right, you turn the Death Pack so they're facing the impending charge, sidestep the Wraiths, and basically aim to get to the lower token by the end of the game and send the Whites straight forward to threaten the Scorch Wings.
With the death pack using nimble, could you just turn and go just facing the wall so you get out of the sight of the...
Well, you might be able to sidestep. How fast are they? They're 6. Okay, so they can only sidestep 3. 1, 2, 3. That might get them close enough to the wall that he can't fit in their flank.
Not necessarily sidestep, I don't know.
Well, if they do sidestep 3 inches, there might not be enough space for the Skylord to actually fit between the wall and them.
Yeah.
That would be... He'd be stuck standing there and shooting you to death for one more turn instead of charging you, but...
I mean, if they're staying there, they're going to be shot. But maybe just get close to the wall and get out of sight, so he has to move.
Yeah.
So we have Ballard in the chat with what his plan would be, which is you double the Ember Sprites with the Cavalry Vampire.
Yep.
And the Race, and only give them a charge back on the Race, and then you move the Soul Reavers up to take advantage of that charge, which I think right now he might be doing a budget version of and just counting on the Race to roll hot.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on that.
The Lord and get that damage back and all that stuff.
Yep.
I mean,
because there is something really scary here, which is Soul Reaver infantry charging off a hill that is possible to set up, which is one of the closest things to an easy button in Kings of War. Like that just deletes things.
That, is
that just hurts. So we'll see if he can set that up. Yeah, and then I take issue, Lewis, with something you said earlier about Soul Reaver infantry being slow. Like, yeah, they're not flying hammers or something, but
I mean,
as-
they're not
as a-
they're not super slow. They speak 6, but they're not like a unit that's gonna charge that is gonna win every charge.
yeah. I'm just as a reformed dwarf player, like I'm looking over there at speed 6, like that's a Lamborghini compared to my Kingdoms of Men hordes and my my dwarf infantry. So
There might be in a world where the race don't bother shafting at all there. The race move up. The Soul Reavers go into the Ember Sprites, and you use the Vampire Lord on horse to make sure that they are far enough along to that side that they can back up 1 inch and be out of range of the Ceremonial Guard. It does leave them a little bit open, I think, to the Rhinosaur Horde, but then like they're open to the Rhinosaur Horde anyway at the moment. So.
Yeah.
And then you're going to kill the Ember Sprites. It's not a race that they've got quite a good opportunity to not kill them.
yeah, are we saying like the opportunity where the wraiths jump the Ember Sprites and
I don't know how far they could have got across. Maybe they won't be able to do their job as chaffing, but they can maneuver onto the flank, in which case, following turns, you've got Soul Reavers might die, they might not. But you've got Race in the flank, and you've got the Vampire Mountain, you've got the second Soul Reaver moving back as well.
I think that's tough. I think if you give up any Soul Reavers to the Rhinosaurs, you're starting to lose trades. It's tough.
Yep. So I'll remind everybody that's joined in since the broadcast started that the top table match has been postponed and will not be broadcast tomorrow. We will let you know as soon as we know when it is rescheduled for, and we will bring it to you whenever it does happen. But there's a medical issue, and the game has been postponed, and they will hopefully pick it up sometime this coming week.
Yeah, it's for extra drama.
Yeah.
It's just to make Tom wait even longer to see what happens if it's all.
Well, my current issue with the Soul Reaver placement, if you look at a Greater Fire Elemental, he's done nothing to put it down. The Fire Elemental could just walk 6 inches, be an inch and a bit away from the Soul Reavers, shoot them, and then get switched in. And he's now doing the chaff job while the Rhinosaur Cav go in and pick up the race for free.
Yeah, he's got to do something about that Fire Elemental, because even if it doesn't need to do that, it's starting to have the ability to do the I'm a 50 mil monster with Surge, with Shambling and just trouble. Just like it goes where it wants and gets a flank. You that's what's sort of great about the 175 point price point, defense 5, is it can kind of push out in front of your lines, break up the opposing charges if it needs to, and if no one charges it, it's in a great position to grab flanks.
Yep.
So this White Horde doing this, does he even have anything to pin the Fire Elemental Horde in place? I guess the Vampire and Horse can do it.
Can he see them?
I think he can destroy a line on the back corner. The Greater Fire Elemental is going to be blocking that, because if it's on the hill proper, then he'll be able to see over it.
Right.
Maybe. No, he wouldn't.
Yeah, no, you're hoping like you'd better kill them and you'd better turn to face. Otherwise, you're getting fire elementals in the flank.
Yeah, right. I mean, even then, like Corsairs are no slouch, and the Phoenix can fight. It's got 5 attacks, melee 3/1.
Yeah.
Like, fire elementals are hard. They do good work. Like Crush 2 and Vicious is scary. Yeah.
Yep. And I mean, I can kind of see you looking there where maybe he was planning on doing that with the vampire this turn and now can't because the vampire is
Yeah.
wavered. But that's not a great use for your vampire on Pegasus either. just punching it like Kilodon, and then getting flanked and dying.
I mean, it feels a little like he's still trying to set up this big go turn. And he's potentially trading away some of his pieces while it happens.
Right.
And that's just going to make the big go turn even less of a go.
Right.
Yeah, he's rethinking that.
He might not have a Kraken left to release if he.
Yeah, it's the old Bugs Bunny cartoon where he pulls the gun out and just a little flag with bang pops out and slowly unfurls and does nothing. Oh well.
Still plenty of time on the clocks, though. They are playing on 80-minute clocks. And they're in turn 4, and they still both have more than 40 minutes left.
1 unit has died so far.
Ancients.
Yeah, it's a regiment of Ancients.
Oh. He's getting the fire on that one down. Maybe?
Just good.
Thinking about it?
Thinking about it. What? This is the old, like, what? Maybe if I just keep trying things, something will come to me.
Right.
What bad options do I have left?
Yeah.
And he still hasn't even gotten to his left, our right, which is just full of bad options.
Yeah, his deployments, the specific units he put over on the right. I mean, it was a lot of commitment over there for 3 objectives without really much support. If he'd had an inspiring Surgecaster over there, then that flank probably would be a different story.
Yeah.
But that's not how he built his list and deployed.
He needed a little more or a lot less.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, because it feels like a lot. It's 240 points of wraiths, 275 points of whites, and then 75 of a death pack. So, we're up above 500 points investment on that side. That right now is getting housed by a much smaller investment.
And realistically, actually, by the end of the game, that right side, Steve might have it. Like he might quite feasibly have 2 objectives there, and the boss nothing in return, and he's bought 600 points of Undead and come out with 500 kills and taking 2 objectives.
Yeah.
And all you needed over there is Lightning Bolt 5, and by the end of the game, the Horde will be gone. Lightning Bolt 5 would solve that problem. Heal would solve the problem.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop a spike, but the heal has inspiring and now does the job.
Yeah, it. We said it earlier. I feel bad driving this home, but like a caster over there changes this game.
Yeah.
And he's with a larger points investment into that flank is looking like by the end of the game we'll have lost that flank significantly. So it's not even like, hey, can I justify this investment to get those 3 tokens? It will be, I invested more than my opponent and lost objectives.
Right. Right, and my strategy of I'm going to easily take those 3 on that side and then only have to swoop in and take away 1 in the middle at the last minute, can't work when you lose all your scoring units that we're going to just go babysit tokens.
He's just trying to bump Tom down.
I don't think he's even playing aggressive enough at the moment to get 23 points. Steve might clear up at last turn. It might all swing. I mean, if you saw Padley versus Ezekiel, that game was all over the shop. Not to spoil anything, but it was a great game to watch. It's like, we don't know how it's going to go. It looks like it's going to go this way very clear. It looks like it's going this way very clearly. And it's like, just switch back and forth of what's going to happen at the end. Great game.
You won't believe what happens on turn 5.
You will not.
This all sounding These are like clickbait headlines.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
Can't believe what happens in turn 5.
Surprise you.
Most Kings of War players will never be able to guess the final score of this game.
But that's something that's great about the game a lot of times is you look at it, you think everything's going to go a certain way, and then the other person has like the bottom of the turn happens, and you're like, actually, they're in great shape, and then the swing back comes. It's we said it before.
Someone has seen the Matrix, and some of the lines are open.
Yeah, it's a piece trading game, so it can look. The picture of the game can change significantly from a couple good key moves or key rolls, or in my case, just blind luck. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, all you have over there are Soul Reaver infantry regiments. So if you want to put anything at risk or bait anything out, you have to do it with a regiment of Soul Reaver infantry.
Yeah, making the stuff that hits you hindered is a good plan. I'd like to, if he was going to do that, I would like to have seen it done with stuff which had wave mitigation, because if he's wave, he's screwed. And if that was a Fury regiment doing that, then I'm quite happy with that, because Fire Elementals don't have Strider, so they're only getting like 6 hits, and then the Fire Elemental Great One also goes in, but he doesn't do much more. It's probably okay.
Yep. And I'll remind everybody that they are playing the entire obstacle, all the little individual bits and pieces of the rocks and the shards and everything.
Yeah, you touch a pebble, you're hitting on worse.
Yeah. Yeah, the greater fire elemental can't step over a medium-sized rock.
Just imagine them all as
like
like
Lego, innit?
yeah.
It's like
Imagine they're all
stepping on
Legos on the ground.
Oh, man.
I met a man did that once with a regiment of night goblins. The old ones, the little ones with spears. He stepped on a regiment of night goblins once. He just picked his foot back up, and his loads of them just stuck in the bottom of his foot.
Yeah. So since he's still faffing about here, I'm going to tell this story. I was playing historicals with some English Civil War, a lot of upturned pike units, pikes at rest. And one of the players on the other side, it was a big group convention game, was a rather rotund individual, large. And his belly overhung the table a little when he would reach for units. So he reached for a unit in the middle of the board, moved a cavalry into some kind of dashing attack, and then straightened back up. And there were about 6 pikemen just dangling from his belly, poked into his belly / shirt. And we're trying to find a way to like signal it to him without being too obvious, because it's a little embarrassing and dangerous. And he's just not getting it. And finally, one of my less tactful friends wandered by the table and said, "Mate, you got fucking pikemen in your stomach. Sort it out." So, sharp units.
And I'm just sitting over here wondering if I went to a tournament where the TO had deliberately put Legos on the table in the place of obstacles, if I would mind.
They'd have to be at scale.
Yeah.
Tiny
If they
tiny
were,
Legos.
if they were the right size to be a wall, right?
Dry brush.
Accurate. Dry brush, yeah.
Dry brush gray.
There's who's the might be Shibber that has some of these models, but they're like little Lego men that are either becoming undead or becoming like Nurgle monsters or something. Like one of their arms is like turning into a tentacle, and like half of the little Lego guy head is like turning into a skull or something.
Yeah, he's got the little Lego spacemen that are all being like taken over by some monster.
Yeah.
Or undead.
Those are pretty rad.
Very cool.
I don't know what I'd ever use them for, but yeah. I think they're cool looking.
Who cares? Like, that's my problem. I have so many units, so many models for stuff that's like a half-formed idea that I can't get rid of, because as soon as I do, I know that's when I'll want them.
Shooting.
All right,
Okay.
shooting. So probably heal on the Vamp Lord on horse, I'm guessing. Picks up 4 out of 5.
Yeah, sweet. That's going to be fully healed by the time we get into the game.
Overhealed.
Mhm.
Over here. I don't know that I like where he put it, but all right. Now on to combat. Let's see where he's starting.
It doesn't actually stop the. Well, I mean, yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
See if the wraiths can do their job and pick up these ember sprites.
Ooh.
It's a big ask. They're dash 11.
I hate both units, so I don't care what happens.
4 hits. Not a great start.
Oh, there you go. That's Wraiths for you. That's Wraiths. That's what they do.
So he's going to be needing a 9 for nerve there, and only gets a 7, and they are dash 11, I think.
Yep.
Yep. So they will stick around.
But I still think he shouldn't have put the Wraiths over the right, because Wraiths with Soul Reavers, they are so good synergy. You have a Scream in front that if your opponent wants to get rid of it, he probably have to commit some good unit to it. And then they can just sidestep because they have enough speed to sidestep and get out of the way, and the Soul Reavers come in.
Yeah. They're such a strange but effective chaff unit race, aren't they? They're not a normal chaff unit, but they do that job really, really well. Because of, well, it's defense 6, isn't it? And it's also their ability to run around and be surge, and they've got Strider, so they can go in and do the quick chaff roll, but then they can get little surge shenanigans as well, which is always a pain in the ass.
Oh, yes. And if you...
Jesus! That was crap.
And maybe you get lucky, and with your defense 6, your opponent will do any wound, and then you can jump over because you fly. Or if your Necromancer has weakness and defense 6, your opponent will have a very hard time getting rid of them.
Yeah, they have that threat that means a smart player has to commit more than they want to into killing them. I'd still picked them up.
Yeah,
With Brutal, just right on it with Brutal.
Yeah.
I was really
I
hoping
was
that
thinking, 9 hits is a bit crap. He's got Brutal, and he's pushing 2 anyway, and then you see like 3 ones, like, maybe. Oh, maybe.
I was really hoping that Lakilodon would just rock hard hold.
I mean, you can do that, but he has Surge.
Yeah.
He has more Surge than you do.
And there's a horde of Fire Elementals there.
Yeah, and that's scary. And that's still not blocking the flank.
Yeah. They could just do a regular flank charge there.
He's just going to have to turn the entire way around.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's going to have to go full 90 degrees there and open up a flank to the Phoenix. And maybe.
Yes. A charge flank from the Phoenix is still better than a flank charge from the Fire Elementals.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. He's like going, oh no.
How did I get here?
Why did I do this to myself? I mean, this is like, you got the outcome you wanted. You charged the thing and you broke it. You should know how you want to move afterwards.
This should be the easy bit. The bad bit was when you were rolling the dice, like, actually, when in 6 damage, you were all that shit.
Yeah. Like, I mean, and this is sort of a general thing, which is when you make a charge, kind of like in billiards, you should be thinking about the next move. You should expect to do the expected result and have a plan for how you will pivot or take advantage of what you just did. So the sort of like, should I sidestep? Should I pivot? And unless some other part of the battle wildly changed that, like you rolled double ones on something you didn't think you would, and you're reacting to that, like you should generally know what you're trying to do with the with the follow-up move, especially if it's the expected result, and like you should have expected to blow them up. So
I think he's just made it a front and forced them to use the search to get into the flank, but I'm sure he'll be happy about that.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah. I
Maybe
mean,
when he,
I think maybe Firebrand charges Soul Reaver infantry. Does a damage, disorders them. You take the flank with the fire elementals to give them a breathing space turn against the Soul Reavers. The issue is the center rear one, which is still in range. But you
Does
can block
Firebrand have
that.
line of sight on the Reavers?
It should.
It was on the center right, not the center middle.
Yeah. Just making sure.
I mean, you can even just set the Phoenix in front of you, Phoenix or both. But
I think they're about to answer that question for you, Brendan, and the answer is
Yep.
yes.
Looks like it's
he's got the
just-
individual pivot as well, so he's actually got more than that. You could take it
Yeah.
another half an inch across.
Yeah.
Because of say individual rules and you do it all.
Let's see if he remembers it. Because yeah, you can swing your leader point right around.
Yeah, but there it's just barely touching the forest and overlapping their corner, so he can see it there anyway.
But yeah,
Without having to turn.
Firebrand into the Soul Reavers to just go punch them in the face.
yes, do on wood and see them.
Sit them down, and then have your way with the whites. Just blow them the heck up, and then I mean, any love for a Phoenix charge on that vampire?
I mean, you're hindered, so I'd rather fireball him. You can do more damage at you.
Yeah.
I was mainly looking at that he would be blocked from seeing or charging anything else.
Yes,
Yeah, I think you can still do. You could probably do a better job actually by just doing that with the jump over stand in front of fireball, like because it can back up and then it opens up a minor arc rather than just sitting in the terrain and being like, "I'm a Phoenix bitch, come at me." You'll be here all day. My defense is shit, but I've got reach and I've got all the nerve in the world for some reason. So.
I do like the idea of the Phoenix just flying right up in front of him, not engaging, and just fireballing at point blank range. and flapping its wings, saying, "You can't see any of the rest of the battle." Caw, caw.
Once again, we feel the pain of not having a surge caster over here on the right, as the Scorch Wings have danced just out of the arc of the whites.
Every
And I was
turn it feels
I was
worse.
thinking that was the right move. Get right up to him, just at range of the rays, and then just threaten everything. Right? You can't then walk off. I'd have liked to have been rotate a little bit further that way, so go further up and then rotate. So the rays can't do the same thing and just book it off to the bottom right corner. You catch him in the flank or the rear, so he can't do that. While still shooting at them for free. But,
Yeah.
I think you're seeing realistically what we said before about the unit strength is going to be the big important factor here, because those whites are actually just going to go to the bottom right corner. That seems fairly obvious. They don't want to give them a flank or a rear because Scorpions are actually alright in combat. But the other thing is when they're doing that, they're not looking towards the middle of the board, and then the Scorpions can just charge the rays. Fairly safe that they're not going to die because they're 15, 16 and raise their neck in combat. And then it's going to out unit strength and raise them to take that objective. So it gives them realistically two objectives to one on the right flank. When you looked at the right outside thinking, well, the Undead just going to take all three.
Yep. And the Skylord's in perfect position here to kill the Death Pack and go safely take that thing in that point in the top corner.
Yeah, flank shot on the Death Pack.
And that's always that dangerous part. Like, you see it happen with zombie regiments. You see it happen sometimes with death packs or other units where you're like, they'll just sit here all game and hold the objective, no problem. And then you're like, you're forgetting your opponent has things that can interact with that, and that like a death pack maybe won't live from anything that comes in and fights it. So
Defense 2 and crap nerve, funnily enough, like you might have stealthy, but it's defense 2 and shit nerve, who cares? Like, if it was defense 3 and not stealthy, that'd be the same result and that'd still be crap. Like, take zombies. Take zombies.
Right. Spend 5 points less, get more nerve.
Yeah. I've got small and get skeletons, and they've got 2 more defense.
Well, I think this isn't the role they're supposed to normally be playing.
No.
Normally,
Well,
they're
You
chopping
don't
up in front.
You don't really see Death Pack because you either invest more for the better race or you just take zombies.
Yeah. They need to
Or
be a
you go
little
Red
bit
Pack
faster.
No. There's a reason why Death Pack aren't a popular choice is because they don't really do a job which other Undead stuff doesn't do far better. They're good. Like
I think
a nimble, stealthy, speed 7 unit strength is great, but it's because everything else in the Undead list does that job better.
Yeah, that's the problem isn't with Death Pack, it's with all the other great options the Undead have for everything they want to do.
Yeah. And Death Pack are only speed 6. They're not even speed 7.
Oh, right, yeah, well, zombies are 1 less speed, but they're an unlock and cheaper and more nerve.
Right. And you don't care whether zombies go anywhere or not.
And zombies are just crap scarecrows when you think about it. So.
Yeah, right.
Even if you want a unit that is not shambling, you have the ghouls competing with them. And
Yes,
the ghouls
Right.
have 12 attacks on force, which can sometimes be useful. And they only hit on 5s, the Death Pack.
Speed 6, wild charge D3.
Yeah.
That's one space, but you see, it's like 65 points or even cheaper.
Yeah. I don't get it because they're not fearless. They don't shamble. So shouldn't they be faster than speed 6? Like if they're meant to be like dogs, if they're meant to be a dog pack or like a wolf pack or something like that, shouldn't they be like at least 7 or 8? Then if they were speed 8, and even if they cost like 10 or 15 points more, I might consider taking them as instead of RevCav troops, maybe.
I mean, would you? Like,
Well, no, but at least then.
Take the first 5 dash 14 and even quicker and even hittier. Had its price bumped up because it was far too cheap to begin with, and it's still a far better value.
Yeah. I guess at least then I would know specifically which unit it was trying to compete with in my list, instead of wondering like what is it even supposed to do.
It's not really properly competing with any unit. It's got its own little weird role, but it doesn't fit the Undead
Right.
list.
Right, like what unit is it supposed to be supporting? What, Soul Reaver Infantry? Because it's the same speed as them, but 1 height less than them.
You need for
Like
chaff
shield
units, they need to be an extra speed. It's like old Raudia with Halfling Cav, where they were speed 7. Like, well, they can't chaff because they're the same speed as the Honor Guard that they're trying to protect.
Right.
You can't get that little bit of distance in front of them. No. And speed 7 chaff is crap. What Halfling Cav is supposed to be doing. Halfling Cav at speed 8 and speed 9 are doing their job, which is they're taking the stuff which Honor Guard are outranged by, and they're covering that by being quick enough to be able to be in that fight. Death Pack don't do that. Death Pack sit in front of the thing that they're supposed to be fighting. But they're not quicker than Soul Reavers, so they're not actually doing their job of covering for them by fighting or going in front of the faster things that challenge Soul Reavers. So
Yes.
what job do they do? Because are they really a chaff unit with zombies, skeletons, and revenants? No, because they don't need chaff because they're the angles.
Yes.
So what I'm
and
hearing is we need to slow down Soul Reaver Infantry.
I think
That's what I'm hearing
And-
is Soul Reaver Infantry needs to be speed 5 so that Death Pack have a point.
Also, the Death Pack is so. If you're gonna chaff a shambling unit, you probably have shambling chaff, and the non-shambling units on the Undead, they are all faster than the Death Pack, except of the Soul Reaver that is equal speed. But Soul Reaver Cavalry and Werewolves are much faster than the Death Pack, so it's useless there.
Yep.
I better ally some Goblin Scouts and chaff the Soul Reavers than
Right.
use the Death Pack.
Or
Yeah.
chaff your werewolves.
So
with that
Ceremonial Guard have done a big step forward.
they are fighting the vampire.
Yeah.
They're just hindered. He's using the mage priest to keep them across that side. They're still in the wood, though, is my issue. Which means 2 Soul Reavers can go into them if they want, but I don't think that's... Like, Stephen's in a good position. It looks like he's about to put the Fire Elemental Horde in with them in the front.
Have they agreed that the Ceremonial Guard is not hindered or something? Because he's using this shaman like...
They'll be hindered. That's obvious.
Yeah, but he could have moved the mage a little more, and they could have caught the corner of the vampire and not been hindered. That
So-
seems weird.
Does he double the rates?
Oh, with the rhinosaurs? Yeah,
Yep.
at this point he should. He's chapped up the Soul Reavers. He should definitely get rid of them with the rhinosaurs and have the rhinosaurs on the flank of.
Yeah,
With
because
Soul
that'll
Reaver infantry.
slide the race over towards the middle, and have the rhinosaurs in. The rhinosaurs can pivot potentially out of arc, but maybe not.
Or just sidestep out of their arc at
yeah,
that point.
and
I
And being a
thought he
really-
had like a really good flank search with the fire elementals.
He did. I don't know why he didn't just walk forward and turn and surge.
Just needed the surge, and that was it. It's going to be a 1-inch surge, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when he can do a ceremonial guard and the sprites is when he kills them, the sprites, because they've already been shoved all the way across because of the rhinosaur horde, they then sidestep another D3, which means that the ceremonial guard can sidestep the other way D3, which means that only one regiment's going to get to them, presuming he's not brought out of the woods, which he will do when he kills them. I think you could just done it without being hindered. Far easier.
Did the greater fire elemental die?
No, it's fighting
Ah.
the Soul Reavers up here.
Ah, there it is. It's under the floor.
Screwed around.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
it.
He's in their face now.
50 mil monsters for you. That's what it is.
I love them.
Great.
I love them now that Titans exist, because I did not love seeing a Mersha demon balanced on a bunch of rocks
Yeah.
to fit in a 50 mil.
I had this conversation with my my archfiend on the. I put it on the 75 that it came with rather than the 50, and I just regretted it every single time. It was a bad decision. But now that they all have to be on it, I feel vindicated because A, I don't have to change my base.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because I've never played an actual game in 3rd edition with the damn thing. But B, it looks cool. Now everybody else has got to change their base.
I mean, 75 is still small for what the world of monsters that are being produced out there
An
is.
infantry regiment is fairly small, therefore 75 squares fine.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
but
it
for
did,
flyers, it's a big difference. The 50 to 75 base, really, really big.
I think he didn't surge because he wants to heal the fire elemental to give a second round of chaffing the soul reavers.
Oh,
You
boy.
know what? The greater fire elemental. Yeah.
Yeah. Those soul reavers are currently in the flank as well, so they won't fit against the rhinosaur horse. The rhinosaurs are fit safe.
Nice.
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like the flank charge on the whites, like you have a chance to pick up whites, pick them up.
Good job.
Yeah.
Like that's what you do against this list. When you are presented with opportunities to get rid of 25% of his damaging units, like you take it.
Yes. Especially because dash 17 is quite hard.
Yeah.
And elementals only hit on force.
Yeah.
God, the trickster god of rolling fours can be unkind. And 18 attacks on fours can spike really low really quickly.
All right, so the death pack is now at 5 wounds, and now we'll see how many shots go off on the whites from the Scorch Wings.
2.
I mean, are the wraiths still in range?
No, they're
I
not.
almost okay. It's like I almost would have shot at the wraiths if they're in range. Like that's your
Yeah.
eventual real target.
I think they're majority in the wood at this point.
Okay.
All right, yeah, and here comes the heal.
Yeah, there you go. There's fuel.
Picks up 2 of the 4.
Gun the lead. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, take that.
Then
I like me.
Fire. Firebrand still has some shots at Soul Reavers, probably.
Yeah, not that it really matters.
No.
So the Soul Reavers get to kill the fire elementals, right? Like, or
Yeah.
get to try
They won't. They shouldn't kill them.
Kill
because
the
they're
hindered.
hindered. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. So Firebrand didn't even need to go in and chaff them.
Perfect good time for Snake Eyes against Death Pact that you're going to kill next turn anyway.
Can't have the whites. Put that away. Yep, you put it away. Never mind.
Yep. Okay.
Plum and battered.
Is that German?
Probably. If it were German, it'd be longer and angrier. So
Right.
It might be like Flemish or something.
There you go. So here's a hindered Phoenix going in against the
Mighty
Vamp on
Phoenix.
Peg.
Oh, he gets two. He gets two.
Does get 2. Puts him up to 6.
There's an 8 waiver. No.
Does not get it.
But it's now start looking at a Phoenix for.
Yeah, at least one more turn now.
Caw.
Right. I'm a bird. Look at me. All right. We'll see if we can pick up these whites.
This is big. And way sketchier than it should be.
Maybe the Pegasus with the free withdrawal can see anything of and get out, but I don't know.
It's because it's disordered now. It's going to struggle to fit around the Soul Reavers. Soul Reavers going to have to go in.
Yeah, which combat is this?
Yeah.
Fire Elementals
Yeah, okay.
maybe in, but then they're going to be disordered anyway. But you don't know about the angle. We'll see when it happens. 7. Now, I'd feel much better about that if that was a bad roll, but in the flank.
Yeah. Yeah. Double that.
Right.
Like it's
So-
that simple.
5 wounds. Puts him a total of 7. Yeah, not getting anything on the Vicious.
Good God.
So
Might
that's a
just
10.
roll really good for nerf because nothing's inspiring them. I don't know.
2 4.
2 wounds, 2 damage off the greater fire elemental, traded for 18 attacks against the whites. Just feels like a really bad trade.
Yeah.
Like you're opening the door here because now a Soul Reaver charge with a double charge with the whites can pick up those fire elementals.
Yeah, it should really.
The only thing that can how do you say, even if the fire elementals double up with a 4, they will not have gotten it. So that's the only comfort you get.
That just that feels bad. It feels predictable and bad. Like, of course you were going to roll low when you took the sketchy charge instead of the
course.
sort of guaranteed. And I mean, it's not fully guaranteed, but
Firebrand goes in.
if he had done that 5 damage from the flank and it was 10 damage, basically, like that's a lot closer.
Okay. So he does get the Wraiths with the double charge, the Ember Sprites, and the Rhinosaurs. And if he doesn't move anything, the Soul Reavers can't charge the Rhinosaurs next turn because they are in the flank, and there's no way to get to the flank.
So I got a weird rules question here.
No,
No.
I mean, if they back
Are
up,
they in the flank? I don't
if
think
they
they are
back
in the
up,
flank.
they can.
Okay. Well, maybe they're not.
I think they are in the front. I don't know because the great elemental is there.
But it's not hard to turn. Like, you can sidestep the Ember Sprites D3, but you have enough time to just turn it. So it's pretty much parallel with a Greater Fire Elemental, in which case you can't do it. So it's really, really easy. It has to pick which version of that it does.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to roll the Great Fire Elemental first because it doesn't matter what it gets, but if it gets the waiver, you don't have to worry about any of this at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess when the Soul Reavers disengage,
far easier.
yeah, I guess once the Soul Reavers disengage, they'll be in the front, won't they?
Yes, they will.
Yeah.
They still shouldn't kill it because Ancients and Nails.
Rhinosaurs.
Yeah, they're Ancients on Rhinosaurs.
Okay, sorry.
Except they don't inspire.
Yeah, they get on pansy dinosaur horses, and no one takes them seriously anymore. Like, oh, like you fancy guys, too good to walk. You don't inspire.
They look at the Ancients with the Zimmer frames walking across the board. Now that's inspiring.
Oh my gosh.
Look how
So
slow
is he
they're
just
going.
leaving them?
So
He's
inspiring.
not. He's just gonna let him.
Paused
No,
it.
he's
Oh,
yeah.
what?
They've stepped away for a minute. They're taking a momentary break.
Okay.
And
'Cause
then
I'm
he'll
like that-
reform when he gets back.
Yeah, that reform of just standing there does not feel good.
Yeah.
Like just hand Soul Reaver stuff to charge. Oh boy.
Intermission.
Feels- I mean, he has a regiment of ancients. Its job this game is just going to be to stand around, inspire, and take a thing. Like he didn't even need them to be on the board. That's how. Like,
Pretty much. I think
Well,
it's because
stacked he is right now.
this blocking thing in the middle, this blocking element in the middle, just shortens, and he cannot afford to put them in line.
yeah. No, it's fine. It's just it's like a luxury, is what I'm looking at. Is when you can just have a full regiment that's just backup. Feels good from the Salamander side. They might
Forward.
have to.
What are you doing?
With Ember Press, I was scared.
I guess he's trying to open up more space for the ceremonial guard, but you're never going to get enough space anyway.
Yeah.
I'd like to be able to move the rhinoceros, but whoa, that's not the right. That's the opposite way. Pop that in.
What do you want to see them do?
Well, I wanted the Ember Sprites to sidestep rather than go forward, because then it gives
Okay.
you movement to turn more. But he should still be able to just turn like a couple of degrees that way.
Mm-hmm.
Back with the right. No! Why are you doing this to me? Literally the worst possible move you could have made.
So now they can charge them
But
and be safe.
it's good for you, Tom. Maybe he will get a 23 and
So
If I was that bothered about winning, I wouldn't have played a different army every single round without playtesting the at all ever. Like, if I was that bothered, I'd have made a bit more effort.
So did you want them to rotate to the left? And
Yeah, anti-clockwise. I mean, it's still on the flank, but they won't take because Grey Elemental stops them from getting the flank.
Yeah, but doesn't if he backed up and then he stepped the Ember Sprites in front of them, wouldn't that have worked too?
Yes, but you're depending on what you roll. If you're on a roll of 1, you can't do it because the Ember Sprites are going to be definitely getting charged. The Ember Sprites
Yeah.
go sideways, and then it means you can just turn like a couple of degrees. And
Like it's risky, but at the point you've decided to back up the Rhinosaurs and gotten a 3, shouldn't you step the Ember Sprites in front of them?
he already moved the Ember Sprites.
Oh, did he?
you overrun
Yeah.
them. Honestly,
forward.
I prefer to turn the Ember Sprites around. They can turn around and watch what's a centre-left objective and be safe because there's no shooting on the board. And then all your
But
hand.
that's the vampire gone.
What he's
this
essentially
That's going to be a waiver.
what he's essentially potentially done here is given a like super highway for these Soul Reavers. There is still Surge on the board, so that Greater could chase them potentially. But like if they backed up and then charged those Rhinosaurs, they're out of arc of most stuff that can hurt them.
And the Ancients can't really fit in to help out. Yep, there you go.
He's doing it.
He's doing it.
Go get those. Like, thank you. I will take that. Christmas morning, you've given me an out.
Right?
Like, thank you for backing up conveniently, potentially even behind certain lines.
Thank you for letting me put a Soul Reaver regiment on your flank. There was nothing to support.
Yeah. And then at that point, do you put the one in the middle into the Greater Fire Elemental to finish him? Or do you barrel forward into the Horde?
Yeah, why not?
Maybe he wanted to give the ancients something to do, and not just sit there.
Yeah, I mean, you could put both regiments into the Horde and play real big, but I don't think you really need to. I quite like the idea of picking up the both fire elemental units this turn. And then the vampire being mighty just sidesteps a little bit in front of the steering wheel guard so they can't get around him in shaft is.
Yeah.
Not an idea. It's not ideal use of one of the, if not the fightiest character in the game. Yeah.
Right. But it's turn 5, and you didn't really bring any chaff to begin with, so
Yeah, the vampire's waver, but he could free pivot and then backwards and block the horde.
right.
It keeps all these soul reavers safe. Ceremonial guard will mince soul reavers. Basically. Well, 10 damage, but it's a good chance at a waiver for an army which has no waiver mitigation.
Yeah. It's risky.
What? Oh right, yeah, I thought he was wavered. Sorry. That's
No.
the other one.
Yeah, he was wavered last turn, but we didn't get him this turn.
Yeah, this turn he had like a really low nerf roll on this combat, like a 3 or something like that.
Yeah, it's a 4, I think, actually, you're right.
But he's grounded.
Yep.
He gets to just gallop.
He gets to run away from a phoenix.
Feels bad.
It does.
Big,
Yeah.
big flaming heel bird is just chasing you around, pecking.
The healer's currently chasing after the fighty flyer.
He's like, yes, run back towards my lines where my radiance of life can be relevant. We need a Phoenix version of the Wilt Father. It just has swaps for radiance of death. It's this big death bird.
That'd be pretty cool, actually. Yeah. Blue fire instead.
And give aura of
Fireball.
Oh.
15.
and give aura of filthiness to Elohe or something like that.
So there's a question from the chat around, I think, that center unit of Soul Reavers, whether they have range, arc, line of sight, all of that good stuff on a juicy flank on the fire elementals.
Yes, they do, because you can see them,
They are in range.
and they're in range, so they can.
Yeah.
You don't have to see the flank, you just need to see the unit.
Yeah. Just see the unit, all that stuff. Well, I mean, we just talked about it, but like, if you see a flank take it, like that feels like a great charge for them.
Mm.
Yep.
So he could take that one. So the greater fires. Whoa, the rhinoceros. Oof.
God, these moves would be way better on turn 3 than turn 5, though.
I mean,
Yeah.
what it does is means they can use the whites to kill the cost. Well, or seriously hurt the Corsairs, at least sitting down away from them. Which means the whites themselves are safe because then the Soul Reaver Infantry will almost certainly, with 25 doubled in the flank, we've got the fire on that hard. And in which case, there's nothing there to stop him after that.
Yeah.
You know?
But
And
still,
then he's got an actual good line towards that back center objective. The white should be able to hold that far right of the diamond. I mean, his plan on the far right collapsed and it's not looking good, but like originally that would have been, hey, you're getting 1 or 2 out of this diamond, that's your win.
but still, I think I will. Even if you have the flank charge to the fire elemental horde, I think I will. The left Soul River goes to the Rhinosaur, the middle Soul River goes to the Greater Fire Elemental, the right Soul River goes to the Fire Elemental Horde, the whites take the Corsairs, and you've taken 4 key units in 1 turn.
The rhinosaurs on ancients, are we guaranteeing that they go down? I mean, it's off a
No.
hill, so
Oh god, no! He doesn't get the hill anyway because he's disordered. Yeah, probably. Yeah, so he's not disordered. Well,
No, but you have a chance to do it. I mean, nothing is guaranteed, but
It's worth
you
a
have a
shot,
chance.
but Ancients are at dash 18 and the Ancient Regiment of Foot is inspiring them. You're talking 16 and a bit hits, therefore you're looking at damage.
it's possible, but not good.
It's eminently doable. I mean, at this point, why wouldn't you take the risk? Like, you're on table 2, you're playing for it. I mean, I don't feel like he's
I mean, it's turn 5. You have to.
Yeah, it's turn 5. You brought 3 regiments of Soul Reavers, and they haven't killed anything yet.
Yes, you haven't
If you
killed
are-
one.
This is the turn where you kill half his army, or
He's killed 1 unit so far. They both only killed 1 unit.
And if
Well, we
you
have
don't
the-
charge it, if you don't charge it with the Soul Reavers, you don't have any unit to block the Rhinoceros. So the Rhinoceros will have a charge next turn. So
yeah.
why not?
Yeah,
And-
why not? There's no reason not to. And on the counter as well, those Soul Reavers can quite easily tank the Rhinoceros. I mean, crushing, you only melee 3 crush 1 at that point.
And then
Easily.
we have a wonderful situation that could develop where the Salamander player owns the top of the diamond and loses the bottom and 2 sides to it.
Yeah.
And like if you had at the beginning of the game said Salamanders are going to own most of what's on the right and the top of the diamond, and the Undead player will own the 3 bottom of the diamond, we'd say, what the fuck happened at this game?
And the Salamander gets with the ones on the right.
So,
Yeah.
this is also an advertisement for if you're going to be a slow player on turn 4, 5, and 6, you got to get through turn 1 through 3 quick, which he at least did.
Yeah. Turns out having nothing to shoot at or move towards in the first 3 turns paid off.
Yeah, it's helping him in the clock department now.
Right, so he's turned those whites over on the right to head towards the bottom. He's not even going to try to stare down the Scorch Wings anymore.
Yeah, at this point, you're not fooling anyone.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You're a big expensive unit that's just going to march across the board and sit on
Well,
an objective.
the other part of this problem is the race have now turned towards the Skylord, which means that the Scorchwings can just turn around, move even further up, and turn to be able to face the rear of the Whites. So if the Whites want to push that token, then giving the rear up the following turn, and Scorchwings will do them.
Or do the Scorchwings just flank charge the wraiths?
The Wraiths. Well, yeah, flank charge the Wraiths, then turn to look at the rear of the Whites.
Yeah, why not? I mean, you're only 24 attacks. What, you're looking at 16 hits. Are they even Thunderous? I think the Thunderous are one. Vicious, maybe.
Yeah, they have Thunderous 1, I think.
I've got to double check.
He's
Of course,
Thunderous
we have
one.
Thunderous 1.
Just Thunder one, no Vicious.
charged with both units to the Fire Elemental Horde.
Yep.
16, 4, you need an 8. Doable. I mean, you're in there, you're in the fight, and you've got the advantage really because of the unit strength and it's the end of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me against wraiths, the problem is always that you do 2 damage and they life leech 1, and you're not actually doing anything in these like sort of pool noodle fights. So if you get that chance to stick 5 or 6 on them at the beginning, then every nerve test is sketchy for them.
Yeah.
Even if you're
Well-
only doing 1.
Yeah, and no matter what, as soon as you charge in there, you've taken that objective from them. So you're already doing your job.
Yep.
You know, killing them is a bonus.
Now the problem there is that the whites can turn back around and charge you in turn 6.
And then having the objective as
7.
well. I mean,
But-
it means that 2 units then picking up 1 undead objective when
Mhm.
originally they thought they were going to get 3.
Which is still an okay trade because the Clan Lord or Sky Lord or whatever that dude's called, Sky Lord, is still going to go kill the Death Pack and take one of those other ones from you. So instead of having 3 decisively on the right, you'll have 1 as well. Alright, so he's double charged the fire elementals. He's sending the middle soul reavers into the front of the
I don't want that.
ceremonial guard.
It's the only unit on the Salamander side which I saw even going into first time round I don't want to do because
I
everything
don't
else,
like that move.
everything else probably won't kill you on the counter, but ceremonial guard could quite easily kill you on the counter.
And also the fire elemental could just turn around and kill you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Way too
So-
easy.
Oh, yeah. You're meant to.
Yeah. Unless you leave the other Soul Reavers there to kill the greater fire elemental, in which case you're not locking down the Rhinosaurs. You as a Salamander player are still fine with it.
I mean, you don't need to do that because those Ember Sprites are in the flank anyway, and they're fine in combat. They've got Thunderous coming off the hill, for Christ's sake. You know, the Greater Fire Elemental can just walk forward, turn, or go tap the Peg Lord with Shambling.
So we detailed out some scenarios that he obviously doesn't look like he took. Didn't take the flank charge or didn't see the flank charge on the fire elementals. Is he really? Okay. Now we're going to see if he takes it. But
You've got to. It's
got
just the
to.
run.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, he checked it at the very beginning of the turn. It was probably like that. Okay, I'm gonna do that. Let me do everything else first, then I'll come back to it. I feel like there's those two schools of thought of like you do the obvious auto charges first, or you wait till the very end and then do them.
I've seen people forget the obvious ones too many times.
Yeah, which is why I always do them first.
If you do that, why don't you charge the fire elemental with the other one?
Yeah.
I don't love it. Don't love it. My only guess is he didn't see the flanks. He just didn't see it.
Yeah.
I don't know. You have to be very, very, very lucky to kill Ceremonial Guard Horde inspired with a hinder charge.
Yes.
So I played an opponent once at a tournament, and what he would do in sort of turns like this or situations like this is he had a range stick for like it helped that most of his army all changed the same speed, but he had a stick that was that charge speed, and he would just put it on the unit and he would kind of sweep it across to see everything that was in range, and then he would sort of see if he could fulfill the rest of the charge requirements, like can I see it, is it right, but he would sort of know what his menu of legal charges were right off the bat, so he wouldn't miss that flank charge because he would see it. He would just be like, oh, they're in range, let me check the rest of this. And I thought it was a really good sort of lesson in like always look for what the available charges are, and then you can sort of decide if it's worth it. But knowing it's there, because I think he just missed that, and that's a potential game changer.
Yep.
He's also just done 5 damage to the Ceremonial Guard with that
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Just 5 damage and not double 6.
Yeah, that's when you that's when you're the Horde player and you're just feeling good. You're like, that's not even. Anyways,
We do this all day.
yeah, we love this with a little heal behind us. So it's 3:00 my time. I'm turning into a pumpkin.
22 hits on 3s.
There we go.
So 12 wounds, I guess.
That's good. 6 to kill.
And gets a 7 and gets a 6.
Ooh. Well, I mean, there was a chance.
Yes, that's big.
I think I'd back up to bring the Ancients back out of range.
But that was a freaking gift. Like he should not have had that charge.
No, that was a freebie. It was a chance as well, wasn't it? It wasn't exactly a certain thing. 22 hits on 3s is ridiculous.
Yeah, that was really good.
But it's 3:00 my time, so I turn into a pumpkin. I have to step out. I will check the YouTube for how this one ended up. Thanks for letting me do this, Mike.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for stopping by.
I was the emergency fill-in. So, see y'all.
Bye, Brighton.
Right. All right. So a couple more combats to do. Life leeches as soul reavers. Has he left them just barely in range of those ancients?
Yeah, yes, because he delivered them. So yeah, so we set it back backing out and being out of range, he's just left them.
All right.
I mean, Ancients.
Ancient man. Yeah, you might be pulling them away from that objective, so might be worth it. Might not.
The Fire Elemental has all the choices in the world for what he wants to go and touch next.
Yeah. All right, so double charge on the Fire Elemental Horde. That was the Hindered Soul Reavers. Still hitting 14 times on 4s.
Yeah, with
Doing 8
elite.
wounds. Oh, geez, that's not a great roll from those whites.
Whites are rolling terrible.
They got 9 hits last time as well.
Yeah, they almost choked killing a Lycilodon.
Only count 5 from that. That gives him 13 overall.
Plus brutal, yeah.
Yes, that's true. So, yep.
All right, still gets it.
And
Although that was a lot closer than it had any business being with those 2 units hitting them.
yeah, just grab rolls. But I think Steve's given him. He's thrown away at least 2 units that he needs to throw away here. Purely from mana choices and movement. Like, deciding to heal rather than surge means that the whites have lived. Backing up the Rhinosaurs rather than just pivoting means the Rhinosaurs are dead. With no gain.
Yes, sometimes you don't see all your opponent's charges. You see, I will back and it will be a fun. Oh, no. Sometimes you just miss obvious stuff.
Yeah. Although, if he doesn't do anything, those whites are currently, as Corsairs are in the flank of the whites.
Yes, they are.
So he needs to do something about that.
Yep. So we'll see how he reforms them. Back them up a little.
No, you just sidestep the whites to the right, so they are no longer in the flank, and you just turn the Soul Reavers.
Yes, it means the Soul Reavers can't be charged on the flank. You don't have to then turn the Soul Reavers to make it a front.
I see, yep. And that way the Soul Reavers keep threatening the flank of the Horde.
Yes.
All right, but I think that was the last combat for this round. So as soon as he's done reforming these guys, we will flip back over to bottom of 5. And we'll see what Steven can do with this.
On the right, he will probably finish the death pack and continue wounding the whites, I believe.
I don't know. If I were him, I think I'd take the flank charge on the Wraiths.
And on the left, you could countercharge with the Ceremonial Guard. The Fire Elemental could go into the flank of the other Soul Reavers with some surge.
All right, looks like he did sidestep the whites towards the blocking frame in the middle of the table.
The whites doesn't actually solve the problem though, because you shoot them again. You shoot the death pack again with the Guy-Lord, and then next turn, if you still haven't killed him, you then charge in, and then you've got the flank from the Scorchwings on the race. So you haven't actually covered it. You just mean he's going to do it a turn later. But this is the advantage of going second in this scenario. Is he can afford to do that. He has the time to do it. Whites have sidestepped.
Whites have sidestepped, but then I think he turned the Soul Reavers a little bit to expose a corner.
Yes, he has. Corsairs, what? Melee 4, crush 1, 12 attacks.
With Elite 4.
The Firebrand as well goes in.
Yeah, that'll be a... Right, because once he disengages, he'll be able to look sideways and see their front corner.
Yeah.
Currently, he can't see over the whites.
I mean, do you even want to do that? Do you want to just kill the whites? Because there's an objective there. I think Corsairs are unit strength 2.
You could.
Corsairs are unit strength 2.
Yeah, so then the Soul Reavers are still beating them in that regard.
Yeah, that's a good point. So he can't. But he can draw line of
Okay.
sight.
He cannot do the free withdrawal.
But they can't. Right, they can't corkscrew.
And he cannot pivot. Yeah, Sam is right.
Okay.
Yeah. But the issue is there, technically speaking, they can't be touching each other. There's a tiny infinitesimal gap.
Yes.
Ass and wide, but because they're both in a line and because the Soul Reavers are... Oh yeah, but he needs to be a square.
You cannot pivot.
Yeah, he needs to be a square. I'm wrong.
Yeah, Corsairs are, and that's because they're heavy infantry, right? Because they're too wide.
Yeah, well, there'd have to be a square to do it.
Right.
Yeah, that's where I forget.
There goes the fundamental. Now turn. Go for the Soul Reavers with a search.
Yeah. Walk up, be an inch away, get the Sprites to flank on the Soul Reavers to finish them off with the Ceremonial Guard. You search him in, you use the Phoenix to heal the Ceremonial Guard, maybe.
Yep. 3, 6, 9, 12. He's going to need to move his Surge Caster a little closer to get to him. Seeing him on the hill won't be a problem. It's taller than pretty much anything else on the table, but he is a little out of, I think he's a little out of 12 at the moment. And he's like 13 inches away. All right, so there go the Ember Sprites into the flank of the Soul Reavers.
Thunderous. The thunderous as Sprites can be coming off of the hill. Like. There you go. I like it. Oh, great Fire Elemental being an absolute boss, just being a complete pain in the ass. Oh, he gets. Oh, does he? No, he didn't need a thunder. What am I about? It's crushed 3 already.
Yeah, he's already crushed 3. He's all the crushing he needs. All right, looks like he's going for the flank charge on the Wraiths.
He's doing it.
Do it.
I like it. I think it's a good move. Because whether he gets him or not, he's still taking that away. He's still taking that objective away, and they're not going to kill him on a counter charge.
No, I know you're going to do it, but don't do it. Because if you don't kill him, the Wraiths can charge the Skylord. Don't do it. Don't. There we go.
Yeah, just back up so they can't see and shoot.
I thought he was going to get like the red mist was going to come down and he was going to go for the charge as well. Like, you've got a turn. You don't need to do that yet.
Yeah. Yeah, just in case the flank charge doesn't kill them. Yeah. You've done such a good job with just these 2 units over here. Don't risk one of them in the last turn. Or in turn 5. In turn 5? No, it'll be turn 6 when they get charged. If he moved over there. And those Beast Packer, 10, 12? Yeah.
Yeah.
5 wounds on him. He puts another 2 or 3 wounds on him.
Yeah, they're in a bad place.
Yeah.
Just 1 wound, that it's more likely them to go than to stay on the table.
They're already odds on to die. So anything extra for me is
Yeah, and that's why I don't like leaving something with such low nerve babysitting a token like that.
That's what zombies are for.
Right, where I've said it a couple times. For 5 points less, you could have had zombies, and they've got more nerve and would probably not be in danger of dying just yet.
What he could have instead is he could have got rid of all the Soul Reavers, all the whites, and just taken a shit ton of zombie instead.
Zombies, they are not stealthy though, so maybe they have more nerf, but they more sticks. But anyways, they are unit strength 2, so with unit strength 1, just the Gakota charges and he contests the objective, not with zombies.
The zombies are unlocking as well. So
Yeah.
You'd have saved an unlock.
Just if you need some necromancers to search.
He's only got 3 unlocking units, hasn't he? And those 3 unlocking units are necro and then 2 vampires. Another Necro would have been invaluable to this list because
Yes, because with whites you want you want the necromancers.
Yes, right. And also just to have a cheap, like giving Talisman to be a cheap inspiring source on the right flank, and that would have saved him a whole lot of hassle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those Scotch Wings would never been that far up because they wouldn't have been so close to the whites.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Come on, Phoenix.
No, I don't know if he's going to get a bit. I think he's probably going to go for the fireball, but I think the heal's got option. You've been lucky to waver it in the past. You've been lucky to keep it set down. I think take the odds and go for the heal. Use your radiance. He's going to struggle to fit. I mean, there's a small gap there where he could have done it. Can it still? Yes, it can just as well get to this centre bottom on that left side as well if it needs to in turn 6.
Yep.
It's an important thing to consider. You need to think about what you do in the turn after that because the scenario is the important thing here.
Sam is saying that the vampire running from the Phoenix Benny Hill style is the highlight of the game.
Vampire! Jesus Christ, it's fucking bird, man. I'm running away from it.
I mean, he's very shiny, and vampires don't like light.
Yep. He is on fire, and vampires are afraid of fire. So, all right, there's the flank surge, the greater fire elemental. Into the Soul Reavers on the far left.
Oh, yes, heal. That's
Heal.
right decision. I like it.
Yeah.
3.
3 out of 5.
My issue is I don't like that Mage Priest being there because it stops him from being able to pivot 90 degrees.
Yeah, he had to move him there to be able to search
Yeah.
the greater fire elemental, though. He was too far where he was. And the
It
horde.
could have been like 3 or 4 inches back, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could put him back
then.
and give more space to the horde. Yeah.
All right, so just one more wound on the death pack.
8. it's already very close. There you go.
Yeah, it's gone.
Gone.
Yeah, and that's great because now he can fly up there and land probably further away than the wraiths can get him if they're alive
You can
and still
quite-
have the objective. Yeah. I think we moved on to combat. Yeah, here's the flank charge of the Scorch Wings. Looking for 5, so that's going to be 4.
4.
So need an 8. And rolls a 12. This guy's nerve rolls, man. Jesus. And he
Well,
turned around
I
and
mean-
right in the rear.
We said it, didn't we? Like, the 4 is about amount of damage you should do. It needs an 8 to kill with no inspiring. That's that odds. It's like 35% odds of getting it. It's worth a shot because the race aren't going to get rid of you. You've got another turn to do it. You're taking the unit strength over there, so you're taking the objective off.
Yep. So this is Firebrand on the whites.
Ooh, 4. No, it's Crush 2, I think.
Crash 2. Oh, good.
He's hard.
Boy.
Firebrand's a prick, really.
There's the elite rolls from the Corsair unit, which they get because Firebrand's right there.
We'll Crush 1, a few more. 7, 8, 13. Don't take
Whites
it.
Well, the whites will hang around. So he just went from Boxcars to Snake Eyes and 1 nerve roll.
That's fair.
One combat to the next. Yeah, that's fair. It balances out.
Ball from the Ancients, puts them on 5. Then you got the big one in the flank.
Is that 10 hits on 16 dice?
Do we have 8 attacks?
And then 8? Yeah, 8 sounds right.
Yeah.
And then
Eight
we're winning on what, 2s? With Vicious?
Yeah. He was a vicious,
Right.
but I mean,
So that's
Yeah,
10.
There is only 8 attacks. Yeah.
only Jesus Christ, it is as well.
Only 8 attacks on 4s.
Yep. But he just
Oh,
converted all 10 hits to wounds, so
I assumed it was more than that.
yeah, 4 will still pick him up.
That's why you should have charged the Greater Fire Elemental instead of the Ceremony.
Instead of the Horde, yeah.
Yeah.
And the Ancients are still close enough to grab that leftmost objective on a
Yes.
reform. And there's really nothing threatening them at this point.
Nothing that's going to realistically one-turn them as well, because they are pretty nice.
Yep.
Only 11 hits.
Crap, he's got 3, so he's on 7. And then he's got the flank from the Ember Sprites with Thunderous, if he remembers Thunderous.
Yay!
Well,
Sprites it on what? 4s or
there you go.
5s?
7 attacks off there. Right. 3 hits, that's a bit crap. 2 though.
5s, yeah.
2 if you remember Thunderous. You didn't.
8 and 6, that is a waiver.
Brutal?
No, it's
Isn't it?
not.
Oh, no, the 15-17. I always do that. The vampire on the individual vampires are 14-16,
Yes.
and the Soul Reavers are 15-17. And I always get those backwards. I should
I mean,
commit that to memory.
how has it
So-
ended up like this?
Wait, so that means if he'd remembered the Thunderous Charge, then he would have wavered the Soul Reavers right there.
Yes. Yeah.
How's it ended up like this? Yeah, I don't know.
Because we were commenting this. The other game, the only thing in common is we all 3 were commenting the game.
Yeah. Adam and Ezekiel's game was us 3 as well, and that was all. I went crazy.
Maybe we put nervous the players.
Yeah, maybe. All right, so they both have about 10 minutes left on their clocks, and we're pulling into turn 6.
What the hell's going on? Where is this?
What does the undead player need to do?
I mean,
Fly with the Pegasus to the bottom token. Flank charge the Horde.
Yeah, I think the whites counter Firebrand in the hope of getting you over and crosshairs.
mhm.
Then you get 2 lots of life leech as a result.
Yes.
Flank the Ceremonial Guard, obviously. Your Vamp flies over to the bottom center objective.
Yep.
Who really cares about the firing? So that gives you 3 objectives.
The whites over on the right can't really do anything because flying forward 7, 1, 2, 3 does not put them on the bottom objective.
But they can walk in front of the Scorchwings and use their greater unit strength.
Yeah, so that's what they're going to have to do is turn and go stand in front of the Scorchwings and survive.
And the Scorchwings can then just walk off into the bottom.
Right.
There. So, but it means the Scorchwings aren't charging them and killing them and getting a free.
And getting points, yeah. But so is there any way for the undead player to get more than 3?
That's not how individuals work.
No, but if he gets 3 and contests 1,
He can force a draw.
Isn't it?
no, because if he gets if he gets 3 on that diamond,
Yeah.
he wins the game.
And then you come all the way across to Firebrand, but you can't. If he does that, you can't over and into the flank of the crosshairs because they are parallel. The individual can't pivot because there's no space for it, so you have to do the pivoting. Individuals are weird and horrible. I hate them. They get to break all the rules, but then they have to play by the rules when they're not given the option to break the rules.
I think that
Kill the Horde, get it, go and do it.
Yay.
Well, I mean, there's a wood there, so we'll try
Yeah.
again. But
Yeah, he can't land right there. He needs to land over to the left a little more.
you can
Yes,
do it
that's
easily.
right.
You can do it very easily.
Sure. He does that, but then next turn, like the Phoenix just keeps chasing it and lands behind him, and they both contest that objective. Unless there's an open one the Phoenix needs to go land on. In which case, he's just canceling out the vamp next turn anyway.
Yeah.
He's got to pick up Firebrand, because otherwise Firebrand kills the whites and you lose the center right objective because the crosshairs.
Unless he charges the Phoenix with the Vampire Lord on horse on the forest, then the Phoenix is grounded
Yeah.
and cannot fly there.
Yeah.
You charge there.
There we go. Yeah, hindered, but in the flank.
That's
And Soul Reavers. And that's the elite one, so if there's one you want hindered, it's that one. So maybe
That's
pick some back
50
up.
attacks, 25, and that's 16 average.
they should do.
Plus
No,
any elite.
they're elite. No, they're more. They're more. They are.
Yeah. So
You got
it should be at
25.
least 25.
Yeah, at least 20 wounds, something.
It's still very fluffable. Like,
And then you countercharge the Ember's price with the other ones.
no, I think you put them into the front to make sure. I won't want to chance that.
He just put his Vampire
Yeah.
Lord into the flank of the
What's that?
Corsairs.
You mean?
Why not Firebrand?
Well,
You're a
you've got
duelist.
You've
You're a
got
duelist, and you have the whites. Just do a sandwich to Firebrand.
Yeah.
Firebrand's dash 15, defense 5 though. Like he is nails.
Yeah.
All right.
But anyways, if you duelist and a horde of whites, that's 32 attacks on 3s and 3s.
But
With
then
brutal.
just put Firebrand, put the Vampire Lord and the whites into Firebrand, because then that's an
Right.
extra life leech. You get your overrun anyway automatically.
Right. You don't have to worry about the Phoenix coming over and fireballing the whites to death next turn.
You get to life leech twice with the Vampire Lord.
Yes.
All right. So that's going to be heal on the whites. Picking up 3.
Yes, and you have to get rid of Firebrand. He has like 5 attacks with Crushing 2 and
Vicious.
All right. So he used his healing brew on the Soul Reaver infantry in the front of the board. And this is their counter charge attacks. It's 23 hits. 14 wounds. And that's the one in the front. Jesus. All right. Or in turn 6, you can just, do like 20 wounds with every unit of Soul Reavers that's still alive.
that's
29 hits, only 1-1. And 20 wounds in the flank. Okay,
Yes.
so snakes twice.
I mean 20 wounds average.
Go on. Oh, that'd be fun.
Yep. Picks it up. All right.
Right then. So, objectives. What are we thinking here?
He's got to walk the back one forward, so if they kill the front one, he still has 2 unit strength on it. And he's just on it now that he's moved forward an inch.
So got the
All right.
crossing fight actually as well.
Yeah. All right, so he's opted to leave Firebrand alive, which might be a mistake, because he might just shoot those whites to death with the Phoenix and Firebrand next turn.
I think the Phoenix contests an objective, to be honest.
Yeah.
The whites still are all like crap.
Yeah.
That's
Vampire.
it. It's 2 or 3 under.
Vampire's all right. He does 4. That puts him up to 12.
Yeah, they're 30-15.
6 and a 6. That will pick him up. All right, so that's currently 4 points for the undead.
4 tenuous points though, and it's so easy to take them away.
Yep.
End of turn 6, so Steve does basic things here. He's at least drawn. The Scorch Wings take the bottom right. The Skylord takes top right. Firebrand charges the whites. He may or may not kill them, but your Phoenix contests with the Vampire Lord. And
He's
your
got a
Ace
decent chance of.
into left. So it's at least 3.
Yep.
Fiber
Uncontested.
has a decent chance of getting rid of the whites.
Yeah, they have 9 wounds on them. They got healed and got life leeched, but they really
At least
only survived
they
because
expire now.
they got snake eyes last turn, right? That's why the whites are still there.
Why risk that? Yeah, no, don't do that. You're out. Don't do that. No, what?
Yeah, he's gonna
I mean,
walk that one down to hold it, but he
but
doesn't
then
need it.
but like, it's not got the unit strength the ancients have. If the ancients die and you get a particular overrun from the Soul Reavers or whatever, you can just take it off the Greater Fire Elemental. Like, use the Greater Fire. That's what it's there for.
Yeah, this will put him in a really bad position for if there is a turn 7.
I mean, I guess to be fair, the not Scorch Wings, the Ember Sprites and the Ancients are currently taking it off of that Soul Reaver unit. Which means the second Soul Reaver unit is therefore like still outmatched if the first one dies.
Oh, and he's
That's the
charging the
fifth.
whites. He's charging the whites instead of just taking the point.
No! Please. Pack it in. 8 hits. 4 damage, 7. Is it 10 to kill? Ah, mate.
Scorchwings are unit strength 3, aren't they? And so are the whites.
No, it shouldn't be. That should be 2, I'd expect.
No, I'm looking at them. They're 3.
Oh, sweet.
So it is a tie.
I still want to chance it. On a turn 7, the whites will wreck you.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's a 7, you're dead.
Okay, so that one was contested all along then. So he didn't really have 4 points. He had 3.
Yeah. Why risk it? So if there's a 7, maybe your Scorch Winds dies.
Well, yeah,
If you
just bring her
move
up.
them back.
Yeah, go pick up the point instead of stay in a place where it's contested.
I
Turn
mean,
7, turn around and shoot.
you have a chance of killing the whites, but it's a very, very little
Yeah.
chance.
Yeah, you're better off just moving your Skylord further away than the whites can charge, flying them down and getting the right, like Northern King scoring. Get all the points you can.
Yeah.
Don't bother contesting things if you have an option to take something.
Taking a flank on the Soul Reavers. Can someone tell Stick to pack it in, please? Go contest the objective. You're absolutely safe there. Go do it.
All right, moving on to combat.
3 from Firebrand with an elite fails.
All right, does not convert the elite. Does do 2 wounds.
Puts on 11, 6 twice to kill. Yep.
7 will pick them up. Yep. And Snake Eyes.
Twice a
That's
snake on that horde.
Oh, that sucks.
Man.
I mean, that horde got double snake eye rolls, but they roll attack like crap, so it's even.
All right, so he did do 4 wounds. Rolled
Nope, not enough.
7.
Not
yeah,
enough.
that's not enough. Off by 1.
No, I was off by like 3.
Was he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
7. Okay, yeah, no, you're right. He was off
17,
by 3.
yeah.
7 hits. The Ancients, followed by 4 conveyed. Fine.
All right, Scorch Wings.
Go Sprites. Sprites.
Is that
One
one
hit.
hit?
Fuck off.
They're still off the hill.
Yeah. Oh, 7 hits. Time it's 5. He must be hindered.
That shouldn't be hindered, I don't think.
He is.
Yeah,
I
maybe
don't
he
think
is.
Pathfinder. Yeah, there are Pathfinder others. So.
That is a waiver, but that does put enough unit strength there to take it.
No.
Until the Soul Reavers on a turn
Until
7.
2
the
units
other
of Soul Reavers.
Oh, yeah.
I really thought there wasn't a chance that Undead could take this game.
No.
Really, I didn't thought.
Yeah. This is the second broadcast in a row, I think, where the game turned dramatically in turn 5. So does that does that do it then? Is that the end of the turn? Is there nothing else left? That was turn 6, yeah.
Yeah. So technically, the undead are winning
Yeah.
somehow.
Somehow, the undead are winning. And here comes a big old turn 7 roll. I don't think the Salamander's prospects get better on turn 7.
It's game over.
That's game.
Salamander's got 1 and 2, and Undead have 3.
What the hell?
What the hell is going on here? I think Steve made some big plays, and all he had to do is that Phoenix. All it has to do is walk up next to the Vampire Lord and be like, "All right, here I am as well." It's a draw minimum. Like, don't have to roll any dice, and it's a draw.
Yeah.
And look at the time on the clock. It's down to sub 5 minutes each.
Yeah.
And
Turn 7 to play.
Yeah,
also,
those-
if the Scorch Winds fly to the other objective, it's same result, but you get each of you get 1 more point.
Yeah, each of you get 1 more point. Right.
Even better.
So let's take a look at this one. All right, so these Soul Reavers are within 3, as are these Soul Reavers who are still alive. So that's a total of 6.
Yes.
The Ancient Regiment is
3.
3, right? Okay.
Yep.
And the Ember Sprites are 1,
Yep. And Phoenix is 1.
and the Phoenix is
So-
1. So that's 5 to 6. So that means the Undead pick up that one.
Yeah.
And the Whites are still alive, so they get that one. And nothing came down here to contest the Peg Lord.
With 2 double ones.
Yeah. Right. So you're right. So the Salamander player has the one the Sky Lord is holding, and the one the Greater Fire Elemental is holding, and the one with the Whites and the Scorch Wings are contested because they're both unit strength 3. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's going to be 2 to 3. Yeah. 2 to 3 for Jay. Okay. Yep. They're coming up with the same count. All right. So that's going to be a win for the Undead, but with only 3 points, 3 bonus points.
They're not reaching 23, Tom.
Woo! I mean, right, yeah, no, you need 4 kill points to get. No, you need 5 kill points actually to probably want it. And that's
Yeah.
That's
Now
not
with
5,
with the Northern skills, with the Northern Kings scoring, you need to wipe out to get 5.
So that is probably going to leave Tom in first place until the final game. Which means
Until
we're
we
looking-
mount to the TOs and disqualify the other 2 guys who are not playing tomorrow.
Yeah, that's fair, isn't it? Don't care about your medical emergency. You have to play good like soldiers, goddammit.
This is more important than medical things.
they're just rolling something out to see what would have happened. Or did they forget? Or did they forget
He's
to do
probably
it
on the
properly?
right in it. He's probably looking at what happened at Scorch Wings.
Yeah, would he have killed the Scorch Wings?
Looks like he would have easily.
And yes, rolling a 10 for nerve probably.
I mean, 12 wounds.
Yeah. All right, so we're waiting for them to finish their counting up, and then they should be back. I'm sure we'll have a few questions for them, and also these guys are playing on table 2 in the final round of 120 person tournament.
Yes.
And they both had run their 80-minute clocks down to 10 minutes by the time they got to the last round. I'm sure if I was in this situation, I probably would have missed lots of little things in the last turn too, just because I was in a hurry and nervous.
Yes.
Trying to figure out what I needed to do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but we'll have the Rhinosaur Cavalry who didn't pivot to avoid being charged by Soul Reavers.
I'll do.
There you go.
Hey!
I've not added anything up yet, dead-wise. I was vaguely open at one of you, Mark, but it's not.
You sound like you're underwater at the moment, mate.
I'll move this mic thing. There you go.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. So I've not actually added it up yet, so I can start working out how much you've killed. But it's even to the last second there, I thought I got it, and then I realised, oh no, there's another Soul Reaver unit lurking just within range of that top left one.
Yeah, I had to overrun them. Yeah, I'm not sure what I killed, but you got 695 of mine.
So I killed 695. I need to. I'll just work out what you got.
3 race, death pack, and a Soul Reaver unit. I think you did get a Soul Reaver unit.
Did it? Yeah, I think it did.
Yeah, you had 3 Soul Reavers.
Yeah, you got the
695, I think, is +1 for attrition on the tournament chart for 2,300 points.
that's one.
Didn't kill very much. Yeah.
No, it was a very passive game for table 2, the last game of the tournament.
I had an annoying double one on the wraiths in the middle, with the white. Sorry,
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah, twice. Yeah, refusing to die.
That's what makes
yes.
that's what makes Undead so good, though, isn't it? Because other people just roll double ones.
To be fair, that white horde rolled like crap attack every turn. So
I know, it
it's
was awful, wasn't it?
kind of fair.
Right. They can't kill anything, but they don't die either.
Second double one, maybe not so much, but yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, so thanks guys for letting us watch your game. Congrats to James on the win. That was a very interesting game to watch. Like they were saying, the first couple of 3 turns, we weren't really sure how things were going, and then for a turn or two there, we were like, okay, the Salamanders are in great shape, and then like in one half of one turn, like the game just sort of pivoted around, and we were like, wait a minute, are Undead going to win this now? Hold on, wait, what just happened?
I was just waiting for an opportunity to go for it, really.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to go too early because of all the shooting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Tom
that's
will
what
be
we were
happy
thinking.
anyway.
We were looking at thinking, I think you're a bit too put back by the shooting more than you really needed to be.
Well, my plan was to take the 3 objectives on the right and have everything focused on that top middle objective.
Yeah,
And then
that's what we were thinking.
in my last turn, I was just going to go for it, just smash everything forward, thinking he can't kill everything, and I should have enough unit strength to get that. But
You got
obviously it went
1,060 you've killed.
lovely. I don't know what that is. So
1,060 is +2.
let's do. Oh, Tom will be happy then.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, but thanks. Now that was a very interesting tactical game. There were several things that we were like, oh, we think maybe they'll do this, we think maybe they'll do that, and you guys made some different choices. So might be fun to go back and watch the broadcast to see where we were like, why didn't they do the thing there?
There was stuff that I saw after I'd done like shifting. I thought, oh damn it! If I'd moved the rhinos back first and then pulled the ember sprites to the left rather than doing the ember sprites first.
When you attacked that vampire lord with your phoenix, I moved him off because I thought I'll just use him to get an objective, and I thought you were just going to turn and fireball him and take him off. And when you didn't, I thought, oh, nice one, that's a free objective. Like,
yep. We were expecting the Phoenix to just like follow him all the way to the objective and contest it.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was worried
I did.
about.
That was me failing at maths. I know it's only adding up to 5, but
I mean, I healed him and he didn't do anything. And I thought, oh, what a waste of a heal. But, yeah. Good game, though.
I know the Rhinosaur reposition was definitely one of the ones we thought about. There was I think one of the middle units of Soul Reaver infantry had a flank charge
on the fire elementals.
Flank charge on the fire elementals that you didn't take.
Yeah. I was
like
again.
Turn 4.
I saw it after I'd shifted stuff, and I thought, well, I've done it now, and I'm just have to sit there
Flank
and stay
charge
quiet.
on the fire elementals. I thought that's great, but I thought if I put the 2 units into the Corsairs, over the course of the game, he's not going to kill them. So I will get that objective in the middle. And I needed stuff on the left-hand side to deal with that that horde of whatever they were. Saurus and things.
Yeah.
You didn't need the flank anyway, did you? You just killed him in one go anyway, didn't you?
Roll that
Yeah. They really made up for that. For it, yeah.
Yes, one key was this Rhinosaur horde repositioning, and Tom said that if you just pivot it slightly anti-clockwise a little bit, they will be on the flank of the Soul Rivers, and the Soul Rivers couldn't fit on the flank, so they couldn't charge.
Which
And
is
they
what I
were
was going to
completely
do,
safe.
and then I changed my mind. I don't know why I
Yeah,
didn't.
in the in-game chat, he pretty much said that. Like afterwards, he was like, "Oh well, it's done now." So.
And the other one was that the Fire Elemental Horde could have taken a surge flank on the whites in like turn 4, maybe.
Yeah.
You tried to heal rather than surge, and you took the front with the Fire Elemental Horde. I'm like, just take the flank, go on, do it. And I'm like, going, no, because that was the difference between killing that white horde and not. I mean, you might have double won them because that seems to be what you like to do, but
Yeah. What he does is he seems to roll really well with his shooting at the start, and his opponent, me, thinks, "Oh God, this is going to be awful." And then when he gets into combat, he does like 15 wounds and just double ones it, and you think, "Oh, this is going to be easy. It's fine. Just keep doing that." Yeah. I totally underestimated the right-hand side of the battlefield, though. I thought I'd smash that with 4 units against 1, but
Well, I'm looking at that now. If instead of chucking the flying gecko lord guy to that objective in the top to try and grab that, if I'd just pulled him down to sit with the others, I'd have removed it from you, and I'd have had it. Well, no, you didn't have it anyway, did you?
It was contested, three each. So you would have lost the top one, but going the other way.
The safer choice would have been for the Scorchwing just to fly over the whites to the bottom right objective. And you both did an objective, but in turn 7, the whites start turn around and go bang and get rid of the Scorchwings on a turn 7. And you get another turn to shoot them in turn 7 then as well. But
look how happy Tom Robinson is.
No, I'm going to swing at them through it and take them down.
Just, you should do like a mashup of the intro video that he did where he was sat there going, and then this one where none of us have got 23 points and he looks like he's on bloody MDMA or something. Look at him, he's like, mad.
Yeah.
No, but it was a very interesting and exciting game to watch. Definitely, we had a good sized audience checking it out. So thanks for providing us with a lot of good entertainment there. It was a very well played game and very fun to watch.
I'm sorry it wasn't like Liverpool Man United. It was more like Stoke versus Doncaster, wasn't it? Just like, but yeah.
After how long Leeds United spent in the Championship, the Championship's got a level of football that you don't actually get in the Premiership. Let's be honest.
Are you a Leeds United fan?
Yeah, man.
Oh no!
Great to be good, isn't it?
Jesus Christ, that's awful. That. I mean, I didn't like you before, but this is even worse.
It's hard work being the most entertaining team in the league, isn't it?
Oh come on, that's absolutely. I mean, I would say Villa are probably the most entertaining team in the league.
No one's ever said that, and it's never been accurate ever in the history of the entirety of football. But anyway, moving on from football, because there's more important things to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like Kings of War. Are you all going to nominate Mike for a hobby hero?
Yeah, definitely. If there's a Mike for hobby president. Mike for hobby president. Yeah.
There's a massive long list of hobby heroes, isn't there? Like Adam Padley, Mike. Oh wait, okay. There's a list of 2.
No, it can't be Adam Padley. No, it's not allowed. We can't be having that.
Why? He hasn't really done anything.
You can't encourage him. You can't give him the slightest iota of praise.
Elliot then.
It's not good for him. He's got a kid now. It's not good for the kid either.
Yeah, you're right.
We'll see. I don't know how many people Mantic is going to recognize or how they're making their criteria, so I guess we'll just wait and see. It's an award they're making up as they go along, so I guess we'll see what they do with it.
Yeah, I think it's a bit like it's like a media degree. You just say you want one and you get one. That's what I heard. Don't know.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Wait, we're not still live, are we?
Yeah, we are.
There's a thing up there. More people
Oh
watching.
yeah, I see it now. Yeah.
I'm- shit.
Sorry. Any other questions from the panelists? I think we hit most of the high points of.
Yeah, I think.
Can anyone still finish above Tom Robinson?
Yes. The
Oh yeah, there's
table,
the top table. Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Either
tomorrow
them
night.
win. Either
Yeah,
them.
they're-
It's not anymore.
What
Yeah,
time's
they'll-
that tomorrow night? 'Cause
they'll
I'll probably
pretty-
watch
it's-
it.
It's not tomorrow. It's been postponed.
Yeah, it's been postponed again. There's a medical emergency, so
That's
they're not going
that's
to
a
be able
draw
to play.
then.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see what the TOs say. I think they're going to give them a few more days to get it done. So we'll see.
All right, cool.
As soon as I know when the match is going to be, I will let everyone know when the match is going to be so they can watch it.
Excellent. Well played. Thanks for hosting the live stream again.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for being here. It's always great to have good players, and I appreciate you guys stopping by and letting us watch your game. I'd also like to thank Tom and Luis and Britton, who had to step out for hanging out with me during the game and chatting about it. And I'd like to thank everybody at home who stopped by to watch the game with their evening. So I will let everybody know as soon as I know when the final round match is going to be, and we will see how that one goes. So once again, congrats to James, and thanks guys for stopping by and letting us watch your game. Until next time, I'm your host Mike Atkins, saying you stay safe out there, and we will see you next time on Dash 28 Live. Bye, everybody.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye.